Between desert and deep ocean, the Red Sea hides a world far more alive than its surface suggests. From above, this ocean looks narrow, but below the surface, it opens into a vertical kingdom. The desert disappears, the heat fades, and the ocean begins to reveal its hidden world.
At first, the reef looks like paradise, a living ocean city filled with color, fish, and light.
But this beauty is not peaceful in a simple way. Every fish here lives close to danger.
In this ocean, coral is not only shelter, it is a maze where every path can become a trap. The Red Sea Ocean is a corridor of predators, where every layer has its own hunter.
Beyond the reef edge, the ocean changes. The blue becomes deeper, quieter, and more dangerous.
Hammerheads patrol the blue, reef sharks guard the walls, barracudas wait in the current, and silent hunters hide below. So who truly rules this narrow ocean corridor? The answer begins here. Inside, to understand who rules this ocean, we must begin with the reef, the living city where every hunt starts.
For small fish, the reef is protection. But for predators, it is also a map.
Every shape has meaning here. A narrow branch can save a fish, and a narrow passage can guide it toward danger. In this ocean, fear moves faster than teeth. One shadow can change the entire reef. The reef does not simply hold life, it organizes life, forcing fish, hunters, and currents into patterns.
Even the open sand is part of the ocean's design. It looks empty, but hidden hunters may be waiting below.
Power in the ocean does not always come from above. Sometimes it waits silently beneath the floor.
The Red Sea Ocean is narrow from above, but underwater it rises in layers, and each layer has its own danger.
Where the reef ends, the blue begins. And in that open ocean, a different kind of ruler moves.
This is why the question is not only which creature is strongest. The real question is, which predator controls which layer of the ocean?
Beyond the reef wall, the Red Sea Ocean opens into a deeper world, where distance itself becomes power. The hammerhead does not need to rush. Its shape alone tells every fish that the open ocean is not empty.
Its strange head is not a mystery of design. It is a living sensor built to read the ocean.
This predator connects layers, from coral walls to deeper water, from visible reef to hidden blue.
The Red Sea Ocean is not only narrow, it is vertical, and the hammerhead uses that vertical world. Down here, the reef is no longer a city of color. It becomes a memory of light above the hunter. Its presence travels ahead of its body. The fish feel the pressure before the shadow fully arrives.
The hammerhead may rule the blue edge, but the reef itself still protects those fast enough to read the warning.
In this ocean corridor, even after the shadow leaves, the behavior of the reef has already changed.
But the hammerhead does not rule the coral itself. Closer to the reef, another hunter keeps the ocean city alert.
But the hammerhead does not rule the coral itself. Closer to the reef, another hunter keeps the ocean city alert.
A reef shark does not need violence to command attention. Its patrol alone sends a warning through the ocean.
Here, power is rhythm. The shark follows the wall, and the fish reshape themselves around its path.
The reef gives fish places to hide, but it also gives predators routes to follow.
A single shark can turn open water into risk, and a safe path into a difficult choice.
Not every reef shark moves the same way. Some patrol the edge, while others wait inside the hidden architecture of coral.
In the Red Sea Ocean, even a resting predator changes how fish use space. In shallower ocean light,
Another reef shark carries the same message. The open edge is never neutral.
These sharks do not simply hunt fish. They shape the behavior of every fish that shares the reef.
Reef sharks rule the patrol line, but above the coral and inside the current, another predator waits like a silver blade.
Reef sharks rule the patrol line, but above the coral, another predator waits in perfect stillness.
Barracuda do not command the ocean by size. They command it by timing, patience, and sudden speed. In this narrow ocean corridor, stillness can be more frightening than motion. One break in the pattern, and the quiet ocean becomes a chase.
The reef saves some fish, but the open water always demands a price for hesitation.
But not every hunter in the Red Sea Ocean needs speed. Some rule by waiting inside the reef itself.
The grouper does not need the whole ocean. It only needs one cave, one ledge, and one careless fish.
Below the reef, the ocean hides another kind of power, silent, flat, and almost impossible to see.
The ray does not patrol the wall or chase through the current. It reads the ocean floor like a secret map. So who truly rules this narrow ocean corridor? The answer is not one creature.
The Red Sea Ocean does not begin with predators alone. It begins with the reef that makes predators possible. The Red Sea Ocean does not begin with predators alone. It begins with the reef that makes predators possible.
A reef is a city built by living animals, filled with streets, rooms, tunnels, and hidden doors.
Every narrow path can protect a fish, but every narrow path can also guide it toward danger.
In this ocean, danger often arrives first as pressure, not as teeth.
The reef creates choices, and in a predator's ocean, every choice has a cost.
Grazing fish feed in the open, but they never forget the shelter behind them.
Small fish survive by reading space, current, shadow, and distance to coral.
A school can disappear into coral in a heartbeat, leaving the ocean above it silent. The reef protects life by hiding it, releasing it, and hiding it again.
But the same shelter that protects prey can also conceal a hunter.
Predators learn these paths because the reef teaches fish where they must pass.
A gap that lasts only a second can become the most dangerous place in the ocean.
Safety is never permanent here. It is borrowed from the shape of the reef. This is why the Red Sea Ocean feels larger than it looks. It is narrow, but it is layered.
Between coral walls, even sand becomes part of the hunting system.
What looks empty from above may be crowded with hidden life below.
The reef connects the bottom, the wall, the current, and the blue water beyond.
A shallow coral garden can become a deep wall in only a few meters. At this edge, the ocean is divided into those who hide and those who hunt.
Current turns the reef into motion, and motion reveals where fish must go.
To feed in the current, fish must risk exposure. To survive, they must measure every meter.
Not every predator is a giant. Some are smaller pressures that keep the reef alert.
In the reef city, position can matter more than speed.
A healthy reef supports many kinds of fish,
because it creates many kinds of opportunity.
Where there are many fish, there are many eyes, many warnings, and many chances for a hunter.
The reef can look peaceful until every fish vanishes at once.
Survival here is a rhythm of leaving, hiding, and returning.
The architecture of coral decides how the ocean moves. At the slope, the reef becomes a border between the crowded city and the unknown blue. The closer fish stay to structure, the more choices they have when danger arrives.
The blue beyond the wall is not empty space. It is another hunting ground.
This is the first lesson of the Red Sea Ocean. Predators are not separate from the reef. They are products of it.
The reef keeps fish alert, and alert fish keep the entire ocean city moving.
Every meal is a calculation. How far from shelter? How long in the open? How close to the current?
The reef is not one solid wall. It is a network of safe zones divided by danger.
Ambush does not need open space. It needs a place where prey must pass.
Even one coral tower can contain many worlds: surface, shelter, shadow, and risk.
The more complex the coral, the more complex the hunt becomes.
A healthy reef creates density, and density brings both abundance and danger.
Where current touches coral, food arrives, fish gather, and predators learn to wait. Where current touches coral, food arrives, fish gather, and predators learn to wait. Above the coral is opportunity. Inside the coral is safety. Between them is the risk that shapes every fish.
The reef begins every hunt, but not every hunter stays inside it.
The reef surface holds small fish, the caves hold patience, the sand holds secrets, and the blue holds distance.
Where the wall ends, the reef stops controlling everything, and the open ocean begins to take over.
This boundary is one of the Red Sea's most powerful places, where shelter ends and true open water begins.
Beyond the reef, power belongs to animals that can read distance, depth, and current.
And when the reef wall falls away, one of the Red Sea's most iconic shadows begins to appear.
The reef has shown us where every hunt begins. Now the ocean will show us what moves beyond its walls.
Beyond the reef, the Red Sea Ocean belongs to distance, depth, and shadows.
The hammerhead is not a reef hunter. It is a reader of open ocean space.
Its strange shape is not weakness. It is a tool built to sense the hidden signals of the ocean.
Here, the coral city fades, and the ocean becomes a map of current, depth, and motion. The Red Sea is narrow from the sky, but underwater it falls into a vertical world. A predator that can move through depth has access to a larger world than a reef-bound hunter.
This is the hammerhead's power. Not only strength, but access to many layers of the ocean. It follows invisible roads where current carries scent, movement, and the possibility of prey.
The hammerhead does not need to enter the reef to make the reef feel watched. Small fish answer the shark with distance, shelter, and sudden silence.
This is not the rule of constant attack. This is the rule of presence.
Its body is built to search, to sense, and to move across ocean space with patience.
Farther from coral, the ocean becomes less visible, but not less alive. Out here, the hunter belongs to the space between what can be seen and what can only be sensed.
When it returns toward the reef, the ocean reacts before the shadow reaches the wall.
The hammerhead rules the open edge, but coral still gives smaller fish a chance.
From inside the reef, the blue ocean is not empty beauty. It is exposure.
A single passing shadow can freeze a reef more completely than a sudden strike.
When the hammerhead leaves, the fish move again, but the memory of the open blue remains. When the hammerhead leaves, the fish move again, but the memory of the open blue remains. But the hammerhead does not rule the coral itself. Closer to the reef, power moves in a different rhythm. Here, the reef shark becomes the moving pressure along the coral border.
It does not need to be the largest predator to change the order of the reef.
The reef gives fish shelter, but the shark turns every open lane into a decision.
A channel is not just a passage. With a shark nearby, it becomes a test.
The reef shark reads edges, walls, current, and hesitation.
Its power is not chaos. Its power is order.
Once the patrol passes, the reef relaxes, but never completely. Some reef sharks patrol in motion. Others turn the hidden spaces of coral into quiet danger.
Even resting, a predator changes the way fish approach the reef. In shallower light, another shark carries the same ancient pressure.
The blacktip moves through sunlight, but its message is the same. Open water is never neutral.
The shark does not simply search for food. It shapes the movement of everything smaller than itself.
From inside the coral, even a passing shark becomes the sky of danger.
Predators create caution, and caution shapes where fish feed, hide, and travel.
This is why reef sharks matter, even when they do not strike.
Walls, channels, slopes, and currents give sharks edges to follow.
The reef learns the rhythm of patrol, and every fish inside it learns to answer. Current brings information, and a shark knows how to read it.
Here, the Red Sea's narrow shape does not limit life. It compresses it. Reef sharks rule not by owning every space, but by making every space matter.
But the patrol line is not the only zone of power.
Above the coral, in the open lanes of the ocean current, another hunter waits for one perfect moment.
The hammerhead rules the blue edge. The reef shark patrols the wall. But speed is about to change the rhythm of the ocean. Part of the Red Sea is ruled by depth, part by patrol, and now the current belongs to the silver blades.
In the current above the reef, the Red Sea ocean changes rhythm again. Barracuda do not rule by size. They rule by stillness before speed.
The ocean looks calm, but every fish beneath them is calculating distance to shelter.
For prey, the reef is safety. For barracuda,
The space just outside it is opportunity. A current can become a corridor, and a corridor can become a trap.
One instant of hesitation, and still water becomes a chase.
The reef saves the quick, but the open ocean punishes the separated.
Barracuda power lives in contrast. Long patience, then one precise explosion of speed.
Where current touches coral, food gathers, fish gather, and predators learn the timing.
The current feeds the reef, but it also exposes every fish that moves too far from shelter.
In this layer of the ocean, power belongs to the animal that knows when not to move. A school survives by becoming one body, one turn, one warning.
Barracuda do not chase chaos. They look for the one place where order breaks.
A few meters of separation can turn a bright ocean lane into danger.
Speed is not only movement, it is the ability to arrive before escape becomes possible.
After every burst, the ocean returns to stillness, but every fish remembers the cost of drifting apart.
The reef shark controls the wall, but barracuda control the open lane above it.
Their bodies are built for clean acceleration, with no wasted movement and no warning. The barracuda waits like a blade, because the ocean will bring the moment to it.
Around it, the reef moves, the fish move, the current moves, the hunter waits.
The fish know the roof of the ocean can become a strike from above.
In the Red Sea, the same current that brings food also brings risk.
Barracuda are not the only fast hunters here. The current attracts many predators built for sudden pursuit.
Trevally bring weight to speed, turning the open lane into a moving wall of pressure.
Every fast predator makes the reef more valuable to the fish that can reach it.
Here, speed has many shapes, each one reading the same current in a different way.
The open lane rewards hunters that can cross distance before prey can organize. But among these fast hunters, barracuda remain the masters of the sudden moment. The reef creates the passage, the current sets the direction, and the barracuda waits where both become one.
This is not random hunting. It is structure, timing, and reaction.
In the rule of reaction time, survival belongs to those who turn first. Speed rules the open lane, but coral still rules the final refuge.
This is why no predator controls the whole ocean. Each ruler has a boundary.
After the chase, the reef becomes more cautious, more organized, more alive to danger.
Predators shape the ocean, even when they do not feed.
The map is not drawn in sand or stone. It is drawn in movement.
For the viewer, they are beautiful. For the reef fish, they are the shape of the open water's danger.
The Red Sea Ocean gives them a perfect stage. Clear water, strong current, and fish forced close to structure.
But the reef has predators that do not need open water or sudden acceleration. Below the silver hunters, the reef holds a slower kind of power.
Here, dominance is not measured in speed, but in position.
cave can be shelter. It can also be a mouth in the architecture of the reef.
After the speed of the current, the Red Sea Ocean now reveals the power of waiting.
The current belongs to the silver blades, but the caves belong to hunters that never need to chase.
To understand the next ruler of the Red Sea, we must leave speed behind and enter the shadows. In the next layer, the Red Sea Ocean will show us that silence can be just as dangerous as speed. Here, the Red Sea Ocean leaves speed behind and enters the kingdom of patience.
The grouper does not need open ocean speed. It controls one place completely.
Its greatest weapon is not only its body, it is position.
The reef builds the stage, and the grouper chooses the best place on it.
A predator does not need to strike to control the movement of fish.
This is ownership through stillness, a small kingdom ruled by waiting.
In the reef, the most dangerous distance can be the last few inches. A ledge is not just rock. It is a boundary between visibility and surprise. The Red Sea Reef is full of doors, but not every door leads to safety.
The grouper's world is not wide like the hammerheads, but inside this structure, its control is complete.
And in smaller cracks of the same ocean city, another hidden hunter waits.
The moray does not need a wide territory. It turns a crack in the reef into danger.
In this layer of the ocean, visibility belongs to prey, but concealment belongs to the hunter.
The reef does not only create shelter for fish, it creates invisibility for predators.
Every fish that passes this crack must decide how close is too close.
Inside the reef, the ocean becomes a maze of safe routes and forbidden openings.
Some predators dominate by making fish avoid spaces they cannot see into. The reef gives life many exits, but every exit opens into another risk.
Grouper and moray share the same lesson. In the reef, structure can be stronger than speed.
But not all hidden power waits inside the coral.
Below the reef, the ocean floor hides a quieter kind of hunter.
The sand seems empty because the predator has become part of it.
The ray does not chase through open water. It reads the ocean floor. Its body is built for the lowest layer, where pressure, scent, and movement leave quiet traces.
To larger predators, the sand may look empty. To the ray, it is full of signals.
A small movement under the sand can become a message only the bottom hunter understands.
The cave, the crack, and the sand are different worlds, but all belong to the same ocean system.
Power does not always cast a shadow overhead. Sometimes it waits beneath a thin layer of sand. The danger disappears not because it leaves, but because it becomes invisible again.
The sand is not a gap between important places. It is an entire layer of the hunt.
In this lower world, the hunt happens through contact, pressure, scent, and patience.
Each hidden predator controls a different part of the reef's lower architecture. The grouper holds the cave, The moray holds the crack, and the ray reads the sand. For a small fish, one journey across the reef can pass through several kingdoms of danger. This is not chaos. It is a layered order built by coral, sand, and patience.
The Red Sea is not ruled from one throne. It is divided into many small territories. Some rulers move across great distance. Others make one small place dangerous every day. But none of these hunters owns the whole ocean. Each rules only the layer it understands best.
Now the answer becomes clearer. The Red Sea is not a kingdom of one predator, but a system of many layers.
The hammerhead owns the blue edge, the reef shark patrols the wall, the barracuda controls the current, and the hidden hunters rule the structure below.
Above all of them, the reef itself writes the rules. It creates shelter, ambush points, current breaks, sand borders, and the density of life that makes predators possible.
To ask who rules the Red Sea is really to ask who controls which layer.
The final answer is not hidden in one bite, one cave, or one shadow. It is hidden in the balance between them.
In the final layer, the Red Sea Ocean will reveal that dominance is not a crown. It is balance. After all these layers, the answer begins to emerge.
The Red Sea is not ruled by one creature. It is ruled in layers. It owns the open edge, but it does not own the reef itself.
The reef shark rules the patrol line, making the coral edge a place of constant calculation.
Its power is not only what it eats, but how every fish moves when it appears.
Above the coral, the barracuda rules the moment when stillness becomes speed. In the open lane, reaction time can become the difference between survival and disappearance.
Inside the reef, the grouper rules by patience and position.
It does not need to cross the ocean. It makes one cave dangerous every day.
The moray rules the cracks, where invisibility becomes control.
On the sandy floor, the ray rules the world that many predators ignore.
It reads the floor the way a shark reads open water.
Each predator rules a place, but none of them rules the entire ocean alone.
The real structure is not a throne. It is a map of layers.
For small fish, survival means knowing which layer belongs to which hunter. Predators create caution. Caution shapes movement. Movement shapes the reef.
A reef is more than coral. It is coral plus fish, grazers, predators, current, sand, depth, and time.
When predators disappear, the ocean does not simply become peaceful. It becomes different.
A reef may still look alive, but one invisible layer of control can be missing.
A predator's presence is part of the reef's rhythm. The grouper changes how fish use the cave.
The barracuda changes how fish hold together.
The ray changes how life moves across the bottom.
Each predator is a warning, a boundary, and a force in the movement of the reef.
Balance does not mean peace without danger. Balance means every role still exists.
The Red Sea is narrow, but vertically it becomes an entire world.
Its narrow shape does not limit life. It compresses life into intensity.
Coral, current, sand, caves, and depth all sit close enough for predators to share the same corridor.
A fish does not experience the ocean as scenery. It experiences the ocean as choices.
Even in calm water, the reef remembers danger.
A hammerhead may own the blue edge. A reef shark may patrol the wall. A barracuda may control the open lane.
A grouper may hold the cave. A moray may guard the crack. A ray may read the sand.
But the system belongs to all of them, and to none of them alone.
Above all predators, the reef itself rules the rules.
It builds the shelters, the hunting lanes, the current breaks, and the density of life.
Without the reef, the predators lose the structure that gives their power meaning. Without predators, the reef loses part of the pressure that keeps it dynamic.
Caution shapes movement. Movement shapes feeding. Feeding shapes coral. Coral shapes shelter.
And shelter shapes the next generation of reef life.
This is the Red Sea's real power. Not one monster, but a living network.
Dominance here is not noise. It is pressure moving quietly through every layer.
From above, this may look like one narrow sea. Beneath the surface, it is many worlds stacked together.
Every fish, every coral branch, every shadow, and every current carries part of the answer. The question was never only who is strongest. The question was who belongs to which layer.
The answer is not one king.
The Red Sea is ruled by balance, fragile, ancient, and moving quietly through every layer of the reef. A hammerhead may own the blue edge, but the blue edge is only one part of the story.
A reef shark, a barracuda, a grouper, a moray, and a ray each hold a different piece of power.
But no piece is the whole ocean.
The real ruler is the relationship between them.
In a world so narrow, steep, and alive, dominance is not a crown.
It is balance.
In northern Norway, land does not end gently. It breaks apart into fjords. Here, the ocean is not scenery. It is the force that decides where life can remain.
The coast is shaped by wind, ice, and ocean, and every edge feels exposed to the next storm. In winter, the light can fade for weeks, and the ocean turns almost black beneath the Arctic sky.
Small fishing villages cling to the ocean's edge, as if one more storm could pull the world into the dark water below.
These houses do not stand apart from the ocean. They survive by staying close to it, and by respecting its power.
The ocean gives fish movement, memory, and danger. It feeds the coast, then tests it without warning.
This is not the soft coastline of a warm sea. It is a place of cold currents, rough weather, and sudden life. The ocean cuts into the land through fjords, carrying salt, cold, food, and the rhythm of survival. From above, the coast looks frozen and severe. But beneath the ocean surface, nothing is still. The secret of this coast begins below the waves, where the ocean moves long before life becomes visible.
Above the sea is wind and ice. Below the sea is current, darkness, and hidden energy. In this cold ocean, life begins quietly, almost invisibly, in the movement of water and light.
The smallest life in the ocean prepares the way for fish, birds, whales, and people.
When the ocean gathers enough food, small fish arrive, and the silence begins to change. A single fish is fragile, but in the ocean, thousands can move like one living body.
The Arctic Ocean teaches life to move together, to read pressure, shadow, current, and danger.
Above the sea, wings begin to gather. Below the sea, silver movement calls the coast awake. The birds read the ocean from above, searching for the first signs that fish have risen. Even the wind becomes part of life here, lifting wings above the restless ocean. The fjord looks silent from far away, but the ocean beneath it is beginning to concentrate life.
Then, from the cold ocean, a breath appears, proof that giants have followed the fish. The ocean has sent a signal, and the largest hunters in these waters are beginning to answer.
Nothing here is random. The ocean gathers prey, and every predator must arrive at the right moment.
The same fish that shine beneath the sea also lift life into the sky. Here, ocean, mountain, bird, fish, whale, and village are not separate stories. They belong to one system. Northern Norway is alive because warm and cold meet at the edge of the ocean. The sea gives, and the sea tests. It opens the coast, then closes it with storm and ice.
People do not conquer this ocean. They build beside it, waiting for weather, fish, and season to allow life forward. A harbor here is more than shelter. It is the thin line between the village and the open ocean. In winter, the ocean becomes a dark mirror, reflecting a sky that barely remembers the sun. Yet even in darkness, the sea keeps moving, carrying warmth from far beyond the frozen north.
The first answer to this coast lies under the waves, where currents soften the Arctic edge.
Warm Atlantic water pushes north into a polar world, and the ocean becomes a living boundary. Where ocean water mixes, nutrients rise. Where nutrients rise, the smallest life begins to bloom.
Plankton feeds small life. Small life feeds fish. Fish will soon call the giants back into the ocean. Plankton feeds small life. Small life feeds fish. Fish will soon call the giants back into the ocean.
Before the whales arrive, before the birds scream, the ocean gathers itself into one shining mass.
The fjord becomes a stage, and the sea prepares the first great drama of winter.
One breath appears, then another. The ocean has brought the hunters into the fjord.
Orcas arrive with intelligence, patience, and the precision required by this unforgiving ocean.
The fish tighten, the water changes, and the ocean begins to organize around the hunt.
Above and below the sea surface, every movement is connected by the ocean.
Then the larger giants rise, turning the cold ocean fjord into a place of sudden scale. In the darkest season, life does not disappear. In the ocean, it becomes concentrated. Northern Norway is not rich because it is easy. It is rich because the ocean gathers life where season and current align.
But this is only the beginning. Beyond the fjords, the sea falls into deeper and stranger worlds.
The same ocean that feeds fish and whales near the surface also opens into canyons of darkness below. To understand this coast, we must follow the ocean from current to fish, from fish to whale, and from whale to village. This is Norway at the edge of wind, ice, and ocean nigh. And the story begins with
The story begins beneath the ocean, where a hidden current keeps this frozen coast alive.
Northern Norway should feel locked in ice, yet the ocean refuses to become still. Far to the south, Atlantic water begins a long journey north, carrying heat into a polar world.
This current does not make the Arctic warm, but it softens the edge enough for life to gather.
Above the sea, winter is severe. Below the ocean surface, hidden warmth travels through the dark. The coast survives because the ocean is not one single body of water, but many forces meeting. Where Atlantic warmth meets Arctic cold, the ocean becomes dynamic, restless, and rich. Where Atlantic warmth meets Arctic cold, the ocean becomes dynamic, restless, and rich.
When light returns after the long darkness, microscopic life begins to bloom.
A bloom this small can change everything, because the entire visible drama begins with the invisible. Plankton feeds smaller animals, and those smaller animals become the first bridge toward fish.
Small fish follow the bloom, and the cold ocean begins to concentrate energy.
In this ocean, survival often begins with gathering.
The season is short, the light is limited, and every creature must arrive when the ocean allows it. The fjord becomes more than a landscape. It becomes a corridor where the ocean gathers life. One fish is almost invisible in the sea. Thousands can change the shape of the water.
When the school turns, the ocean flashes. When it tightens, it becomes a living mass.
The ocean does not keep its secrets for long. What gathers below is soon read from above.
Birds begin to circle because the sea beneath them has changed.
They watch the water, reading ripples, flashes, and the movement of fish beneath the ocean skin.
Below the birds, the fish are no longer scattered. The ocean has begun to build a winter feast.
This movement is not random. It is timing made visible inside the ocean. Across the cold sea, scattered life begins to come together.
In winter, abundance in the Arctic does not spread gently. It gathers in dense, fragile places.
This is how the ocean turns invisible energy into visible life. Plankton becomes fish, fish becomes movement, and movement begins to call the giants of the sea. A fjord can shelter life, but it can also concentrate it until every predator notices.
From above, the signs are small. A circle of birds, a change in the sea, a pulse beneath the surface.
The land remains silent, but the ocean below it is full of decisions. Air and sea are linked by fish, and every wing above the water depends on what the ocean provides.
The power of this school is not aggression. It is concentration. A scattered fish is difficult to find. A dense school changes everything.
The ocean compresses life into a shape that birds can follow and whales can find.
The first hunters are already reading the surface, but the greatest hunters are still beyond the frame. Far across the ocean, another sign appears and looms, a breath
A ripple, a giant turning toward the feast.
The fish do not know the whole story, but the ocean around them is changing.
The current began this story. The fish made it visible. Now the sea is ready to summon larger life.
Sometimes the entire fjord feels organized around one movement beneath the waves.
The mountains look still, but the ocean below them is preparing the first great winter spectacle.
Herring are not the largest animals in this story, but in the winter ocean they may be the most important.
A transfer of energy, carrying the bloom of the ocean into bodies large enough to feed giants. Individually, each fish is small. Together, they become a living storm beneath the sea.
This is the moment when the Arctic coast begins to wake in the coldest part of the year. The ocean has gathered its silver bloodline, and the giants have begun to arrive.
Soon, intelligence will enter the dark water, and the fjord will become a hunting theater. The entire drama of northern Norway begins with invisible changes in water.
The land may be frozen, the sky may be dark, but the ocean continues to carry energy north.
Fish feed whales, seabirds, seals, and people. The ocean connects them all.
A current alone does not create a winter spectacle. For that, the sea needs a smaller creature.
It needs herring, the silver bloodline of the Arctic winter.
And when the herring are forced upward beneath the cold ocean surface, one of the most intelligent hunting scenes in the sea is about to begin. Now, beneath the cold ocean surface, one of the most intelligent hunting scenes in the sea begins.
In the winter fjords of Norway, the herring become the center of the season.
Orcas do not enter this ocean as random hunters. They arrive with memory, coordination, and purpose.
They begin to work around the school, reading its shape and guiding its movement.
The herring respond as one body, folding inward as pressure builds from every side.
The power of the orca is not speed alone. It is strategy.
Above the water, birds follow the signs. Below the sea, the hunt is being arranged.
The fjord becomes a single connected world, with fish, whales, birds, and mountains in one frame.
Movement, bubbles, and pressure turn the open ocean into a carefully shaped trap.
To the viewer, it may look chaotic, but inside the sea, every movement belongs to a pattern.
A tail strike breaks the order for a moment, and the silver wall shivers through the ocean.
The school tightens again, because in this ocean, scattered life is fragile. At the surface, black fins cut through the cold ocean, like signals from another intelligence.
The birds know what the ocean is hiding, and the orcas know how to bring it within reach.
The scene becomes almost architectural, a structure built from pressure, movement, and fear.
The herring form a living sphere, and the orcas hold the boundaries of the sea around it. The herring form a living sphere, and the orcas hold the boundaries of the sea around it.
The land looks silent, but the sea below it is full of decisions.
But the orcas are not the only giants drawn into the fjord. Humpback whales bring a different kind of force, slower, larger, and immense.
Where the orca shapes the school with precision, the humpback rises with scale.
At first, there is only a shadow moving upward through the ocean.
Then the surface changes, and the fjord seems to hold its breath.
For 1 second, the ocean opens, and a giant becomes visible.
Water drains away, the whale sinks again, and the surface closes over the feast. The school breaks, then gathers again, because the ocean keeps forcing life back into motion. Orcas and humpbacks do not hunt in the same way, but both reveal the same truth.
Northern Norway's winter sea is not dead. It is concentrated. The cold does not stop life. It compresses life into moments of intensity.
Under this different light, every animal must use the season before the season closes.
Breath turns white in freezing air, fins cut the dark ocean, and birds scream over the waves.
Below it all, the herring flash like a hidden silver storm.
The fjord becomes a feeding theater, and the small village beyond it becomes part of the same ocean story.
The sea that gathers whales also sustains the people who live beside it.
After each surge of motion, the ocean settles, but the current keeps the story moving.
The hunt is never permanent. Abundance in the Arctic is brief, and every creature must follow it. When the moment is over, the giants move on, because the ocean never holds still.
The fjord has offered food, but beyond it, the sea continues into deeper water. Not every giant hunts near the surface, and not every ocean story remains in the light.
Farther west, beyond the winter fjords, the ocean floor begins to fall away.
The same coast that holds herring and orcas also stands beside an abyss.
Here, the ocean is no longer only wide, it becomes deep. Below the feeding fjords, another world waits, one built from darkness, pressure, and sound.
The winter spectacle has shown how life gathers near the surface, but the next giant follows a different path.
Beyond the fjords, the seafloor drops, and another whale enters the unseen ocean.
The next chapter belongs not to the Silver School, but to the deep diver that follows darkness itself.
From the hunting fjords of winter, we now descend toward the deep ocean canyons, where sperm whales search with sound. From the hunting fjords of winter, we now descend toward the deep ocean canyons, where another giant follows darkness itself.
Farther west, the coast reveals one of its greatest secrets. Deep ocean water comes close to land.
Here, the sea does not remain shallow for long. The ocean drops beside the shore. Beneath the waves, slopes and submarine canyons open a doorway into a deeper world.
For humans above, the horizon may look simple. For a deep diver, it is an entrance.
The sperm whale rises from this hidden depth to breathe at the surface.
This is not a hunter of the shallow herring fjord. It is a giant built for vertical journeys.
Before the dive, the whale waits and breathes, gathering oxygen for a world without light.
Its body seems almost still, but every breath prepares the descent.
Then the back arches, and the surface moment becomes a doorway. The ray's tail is like a door closing between the world of air and the world of depth.
Below the surface, the whale leaves the human world almost completely.
The water turns from blue to deeper blue, then toward black.
Light fades quickly here, and pressure begins to shape every movement.
In this deep ocean, sight becomes less important than sound. The sperm whale sends clicks through the ocean and listens for echoes in the dark.
Those echoes become a way to read the unseen.
The coastline is dramatic above water, but below the sea, the drama continues downward. The seafloor falls, depth opens, and a mammal of air enters a world of pressure.
Above is the coast of villages and storms. Below is the acoustic world of the sperm whale.
Somewhere in this darkness, squid and other deep-water prey move beyond human sight.
The hunt is rarely seen, but the idea of it gives this ocean its weight.
In this layer, the sea does not reveal everything.
The sperm whale carries one of the ocean's most powerful natural sonar systems.
Each click searches the darkness, returning fragments of shape, distance, and direction.
This is not the fast silver chaos of the herring fjord. It is slower.
In northern Norway, the village and the abyss can be neighbors.
On the surface are boats, weather, birds, and light. Beneath are canyons, pressure, and sound.
The human world floats above, while the whale moves through a depth human senses cannot survive.
After the descent, the whale must return to air. The journey is vertical, from breath to darkness and back again.
Every dive reminds us that this coast is not only horizontal, but layered.
The whale rises toward a world of wind, cliffs, islands, and winter ocean. Then the breath returns, and the hidden world briefly touches the surface. For a moment, the deep diver becomes visible again, and the ocean closes its secret behind it. Vesterålen matters because it shows how close deep ocean systems can come to the human coast.
A village may stand beneath snowy peaks, while a whale searches the abyss nearby.
The shore and the deep are not separate worlds here. In places like this, they are neighbors. Life exists along the coast, but it also hangs above a layered ocean.
At the surface are breath storms and light. Below are slopes, squid, pressure, and sound. The deep whale does not need the fjord theater. It belongs to a darker stage.
But life here does not only rise from the ocean depths. It also clings to stone, where the ocean sends food upward into wings. Along the northern coast, cold cliffs become vertical cities beside the sea. Along the northern coast, cold cliffs become vertical cities beside the sea. From the abyss of sperm whales, we turn to the crowded cliffs where the sea becomes flight. From the abyss of sperm whales, we turn to the crowded cliffs where the sea becomes flight.
Along the northern coast, stone cliffs become cities because the ocean below can feed them.
At first, the cliff looks like cold stone. Then the ocean reveals it as a vertical city. Every ledge is a place of balance, where life clings between rock, wind, and ocean.
The sea feeds them below, but the cliff gives them a place to return.
A puffin-carrying fish is carrying the energy of the ocean onto land.
Each small fish began in the sea, but now it becomes part of a life built high above the waves.
The birds dive into the ocean, take from the sea, and bring that life back to stone.
A seabird colony is not only a spectacle, it is evidence that the ocean nearby is productive.
Some birds dive, some glide, some wait on ledges, but all of them depend on the sea.
On these cliffs, survival is measured in inches of stone and miles of ocean.
The cliff is built from rock, but its life is built from fish. When they leave the cliff, they enter the ocean's weather. When they leave the cliff, they enter the ocean's weather. When fish shift, birds must search farther, and the ocean becomes harder to read.
A cliff can roar with life, but a quieter ledge can also tell a story from the sea.
When birds vanish from a place like this, it is not only a loss of sound, it is a signal from the ocean.
Seabirds make absence visible because they return from the sea to land.
If food becomes harder to find, the cliff feels it long before the viewer understands why. The bird reads the surface, the fish reads the current, the cliff records the result.
Yet the cliffs remain alive, because the ocean still sends food into the air.
Every returning bird is a small proof that the sea can still provide.
The journey from water to wing is repeated thousands of times across the coast.
Below these cliffs, humans have also learned to read the ocean.
In northern Norway, the sea is not only scenery, it is food, danger, memory, and identity.
Small villages sit between mountains and ocean, shaped by the narrow chances the sea allows. A calm harbor can feel safe, but beyond it, the ocean can change without warning.
The work of the village begins with weather, timing, and respect for the sea. Fish leave the ocean, but the cold air and wind become part of the process. Here, the climate itself helps preserve what the sea has given. The village is not separate from nature. It is woven into the ocean's rhythm. People here have not lived by conquering the ocean. They have lived by negotiating with it.
A fisher reads wind, current, fish movement, and season before trusting the sea. The coastline may look beautiful from far away, but the ocean does not forgive carelessness.
Knowing when to turn back can be as important as knowing where the fish are. A harbor light in winter is not only beautiful, it is a signal of adaptation.
Behind each light is a life built around weather, fish, darkness, and return.
Generations learn this coast not only from maps, but from storms remembered.
The same sea that feeds a village can threaten it, depending on wind, distance, and timing.
The ocean gives and tests in the same breath.
Birds,
Fishers, whales, and villages all read the same water in different ways.
Beneath the harbour, the food web continues, quiet and essential.
The village survives because the ocean remains alive beyond what the eye can see.
To live here is to know when to leave, when to wait, and when to return.
The return to harbor is part of the rhythm, as important as the journey out. This human layer keeps the coast from becoming only a wilderness postcard. The birds return to ledges, the boats return to harbor, and both returns depend on the sea.
Northern Norway is a coastal system where ocean productivity climbs into wings and settles into villages.
Everything here depends on reading the ocean accurately. The whale reads fish. The bird reads the surface. The fisher reads the wind. But this relationship is changing because the Northern Ocean is changing its rhythm.
Fish may shift, seasons may move, and old knowledge must adapt to a sea that no longer behaves exactly as before.
For the birds, for the whales, and for the people, survival depends on the ocean's pattern.
And now, across the far north, ice is retreating, seasons are shifting, and the Arctic Sea...
Across the far north, ice is retreating, seasons are shifting, and the Arctic Sea is beginning to change its rhythm. Less ice does not simply mean more open ocean. It changes the boundary between Arctic cold and Atlantic warmth.
Warmer, saltier water can move farther north, reshaping where life can gather.
The change is not always dramatic in a single frame, but the ocean remembers every small shift.
This is not a simple disaster scene. It is a rhythm slipping out of its old timing. This is not a simple disaster scene. It is a rhythm slipping out of its old timing.
For fish, temperature can influence movement, growth, spawning, and where the next meal will be found.
If the fish move, everything that follows them must also move.
For seabirds, the question becomes how far they must fly before the ocean offers food. A quieter cliff is not only a quieter cliff. It may be a message from the sea. A quieter cliff is not only a quieter cliff. It may be a message from the sea.
When the food web shifts beneath the surface, the change rises into the air.
For whales, the location of prey decides where the journey must go.
If herring gather differently, the giants must search differently.
For fishing communities, these changes are not abstract. They arrive as questions at the harbor.
Where will the fish be? When will they come? Will the old calendar still work?
Knowledge built over generations must now listen to an ocean that is changing its behavior.
Life here was always difficult, but it was difficult within patterns animals and people could learn.
When the timing changes, the challenge becomes deeper than storm or cold.
For herring, the question is where to gather. For whales, where to feed.
For seabirds, the question is how far to fly before the sea gives enough. For the coast itself, the question is how to remain a living edge as the Arctic becomes less predictable.
The retreat of ice does not erase life at once. It changes the stage on which life must act.
When the stage moves, every actor must adjust. Warm currents, cold seas, herring, whales, seabirds, fishing villages, and retreating ice all belong to one story. Northern Norway is not the edge of life. It is one of its most delicate centers. Northern Norway is not the edge of life. It is one of its most delicate centers.
Everything depends on reading the edge correctly, Astokli, the edge between land and sea. The edge between Atlantic warmth and Arctic cold still shapes the life above it.
The edge between winter darkness and returning light decides when the ocean can bloom. The edge between abundance and hunger may begin with light no wider than a season. Whales do not come because people hope to see them. They come when the ocean gathers food. Orcas follow herring. Humpbacks arrive when the season offers enough prey.
Sperm whales use deep ocean waters where sound can find what sight cannot. Sperm whales use deep ocean waters where sound can find what sight cannot.
Humans are part of this system too, reading weather, current, fish movement, and season.
A family drying fish in cold air is using the climate as part of the process.
A harbor light in winter is not only beautiful, it is a sign that life has adapted. A harbor light in winter is not only beautiful, it is a sign that life has adapted.
Edges are where forces meet. Warm water and cold water, mountains and fjords, birds and cliffs, whales and herring. Life here becomes precise because it must.
A whale must be where the fish are. A bird must find food before the season turns. A fisher must choose the right day to leave harbor, because the ocean remembers every mistake.
This precision is not weakness. It is wisdom.
The animals do not fight the Arctic Ocean as if it were an enemy. They use what it gives.
Wind becomes flight. Cold water becomes a feeding ground. Darkness becomes a season of whale breath and herring movement.
Fjords become shelter. Canyons become hunting routes.
The people here do the same. They build low against the wind and place villages near protected water.
They follow fish, respect weather, and understand that the sea is never only a view.
It is a force with memory, and that is why this coast stays with people who see it.
Northern Norway is not only beautiful, it is honest.
It does not pretend nature is gentle. It shows that life can continue in severe places.
To live at the edge is not to be far from life. It is to live where life must become most aware.
A school of herring can call whales back into dark fjords. A cliff can hold thousands of wings above a winter ocean.
A warm Atlantic current can keep the northern coast open when the land around it is frozen. A small village can survive for generations, not by overpowering the sea, but by learning its rhythm.
Here, every form of life is reading something. The blue whale reads the fish. The albatross reads the surface. The fisher reads the wind. The village reads the season. The coast reads the meeting of warm Atlantic water
and Arctic cold. Northern Norway is not the end of life. It is where life becomes precise. Between wind, ice, and ocean, every breath, every wing, every returning boat.
Not by conquering nature, but by listening carefully enough to remain.
This is Norway. Life at the edge of wind, ice, and ocean. From above, Greenland looks silent, but along the edge of the Arctic Ocean, life is already waiting. This is not an empty white world. It is a world where life hides, where ice and ocean meet.
The fjords are ocean roads carved into stone, carrying cold water deep into the frozen land. Every dark opening in the ocean ice can become a doorway, a warning, or a lifeline. In Greenland, the frozen surface is never just scenery. It is the stage where survival begins. The silence holds signs, tracks, scent, wind, hunger, and memory.
A hole in the ice may look small, but beneath it lies an entire ocean world.
For the seal, this is not simply water. It is the border between breath and darkness.
Below the ice, the ocean is quiet, but it is not still. Greenland's story begins in this thin boundary between frozen air and living sea.
The polar bear looks powerful, but even power depends on the ocean ice beneath its feet.
It reads the sea ice through scent, sound, pressure, and patience.
Every step costs energy, and in this frozen ocean world, energy is never wasted.
The strongest hunter here is still only one life, moving across a fragile frozen floor.
Where the ocean opens, the food chain begins to gather. Birds follow the cracks because the ocean below carries food upward.
From far away, these cliffs look lifeless, but the sea has already begun to fill them with motion. Here, wings turn ocean food into life on stone. The cliff is not only rock, it is a vertical city built beside the sea. Beneath the noise of wings, a smaller survivor reads the same ocean edge.
The fox is small, but in a hard ocean-bound world, smallness can be a form of strength. It survives not by ruling the landscape, but by noticing what others miss.
Where the ocean feeds birds, it also creates chances for the fox. Life here is spread thin, but every edge has a purpose. Even the quietest animals are tied to the rhythm of snow, wind, and sea.
Some survive by moving lightly. Others survive by standing together against the ocean wind.
In Greenland, warmth is stored in bodies, in herds, and in every careful choice.
Land and ocean are never separate here. The sea shapes the weather, the food, and the movement of life. The fjords carry the ocean into the frozen land, and with it comes the possibility of life. Below these icebergs, the ocean continues downward into a colder and darker world.
The frozen surface hides an ocean system where small lives support giants.
In this cold ocean, even the smallest forms of life can decide what survives above the ice.
Fish turn invisible ocean energy into movement, flesh,
and survival.
The seal carries this ocean energy upward toward the frozen world above.
A single layer of ice separates two worlds, but every life on both sides is connected.
Glaciers bring the frozen interior to the sea, and the ocean answers with movement. To the animals of Greenland, ice is shelter, distance, danger, and direction. Far beyond the cliffs, giants follow the same cold ocean rhythm. A whale changes the fjord in a single breath, revealing that this frozen land is also an ocean world.
Some animals walk on ice, some breathe through it, and others move beneath it like living mountains.
Each life seems separate, but the ocean connects them all.
In Greenland, survival gathers where elements meet: ice and water, cliff and sea, hunger and patience.
Nothing here is careless. Every mark in the snow belongs to a decision. The same frozen surface can be a roof, a road, a nursery, and a hunting ground.
The ocean feeds the birds feed the cliffs, and the cliffs feed another kind of survival. This opening chapter is only the surface. Beneath it lies a deeper system of timing, hunger, and adaptation.
To understand Greenland wildlife, we must follow the edge where the ocean shapes every life.
The first rule of this frozen world is simple. Ice decides where life can move. When the ocean opens, the story begins to move from silence into survival.
And so we begin with the fragile foundation beneath every track, every dive, every flight, and every breath.
To understand life in Greenland, we must begin with the surface that decides almost everything: sea ice.
This ice is not a blank white floor. It is a living boundary between air and ocean.
Where the ocean presses against the frozen surface, the ice bends, breaks, rises, and becomes a map. An open lead can become a feeding route, a breathing place, or a dangerous gap between lives. Below the frozen roof, the ocean begins its quiet work.
When light returns, even the smallest life beneath the ice can start an entire chain. The beginning of survival here is almost invisible, carried by light, nutrients, and timing. Fish gather where the ocean gives them food, and their movement begins to draw larger lives. Every small body in this cold ocean becomes part of a larger survival equation.
The seal lives between two worlds, feeding in the ocean and breathing through the ice. To the seal, a dark circle in the ice is not a detail. It is a doorway back to air. The same ice that traps the ocean below also gives life a place to breathe. For one animal, the hole is safety. For another, it is a place to wait. The bear does not rule the ice by force alone. It survives by reading the ocean's frozen skin.
Sea ice is a road, a roof, a hunting ground, a resting place, and a border between worlds.
Where the ice is strong, it can become a platform for rest.
Where snow gathers over ice, shelter can form, but only if the season remains stable. To human eyes, the ice may look permanent, but the ocean beneath is always moving it.
A frozen surface can rise, tilt, crack, and drift with every movement of the sea.
The frozen interior reaches the ocean through glaciers, and the ocean reshapes it into drifting ice. Here, Every texture tells a different story of cold, pressure, current, and time.
The ice opens, closes, thickens, thins, and changes the rules for everything living here.
When the ocean opens, birds read the signal from above. A crack in the ice can connect sky, ocean, and hunger in a single dive. Below the opening, the ocean gathers movement that cannot be seen from the frozen surface.
The sea feeds the birds, and the birds carry the ocean's energy toward the cliffs.
Even the cliffs depend on what happens out here on the frozen sea. The ocean does not stop at the shore. Its influence climbs into every track and every ledge.
The living Greenland is not found in the empty interior. It gathers around the ocean edge.
When light returns to the frozen world, the ocean beneath begins to answer. Light, ice, and ocean must meet at the right time for life to rise. Every animal reads this map differently, but the map is written by the sea. A sound in the ice can mean movement, danger, access, or change. Strength and weakness can exist only a few steps apart. From below, the ice is a ceiling of shadows, openings, and risk.
The food web begins quietly, in colors and movements too small to dominate the eye.
Plankton feeds fish. Fish feeds seals and birds, and the ice holds each layer close together.
The seal is a bridge between the small ocean lives below and the hunters above.
The bear uses sea ice as a road to reach the places where the ocean must breathe. Nothing here survives alone. The ice connects every breath, dive, flight, and step. But the foundation of this world is fragile, and its rhythm is never guaranteed. When ice forms later or breaks earlier, every animal must spend more energy finding what it needs. Distance changes survival. A short crossing can become a long search. A wider opening can help one life, while making another life work harder. When the ice changes, the distances change, the timing changes, and the risks change. Even the giants of the fjord follow the patterns set by ice, current, and prey. This is the first rule of Greenland wildlife. Survival gathers where elements meet. And across this frozen stage, one relationship will define the next chapter. Above the ice waits the bear. Beneath the ice moves the seal. Above the ice waits the bear. Beneath the ice moves the seal. Between them lies the polar bear is powerful, but here, power begins with patience. The polar bear is powerful, but here, power begins with patience. A scent carried from the ocean can guide the bear farther than sight alone.
Every step is a calculation, because every movement burns energy that may not return.
To survive here, the bear must understand a map that is always shifting. For the seal, this small opening is life. For the bear, it is possibility. For the seal, this small opening is life. For the bear, it is possibility. The seal is built for this hidden ocean, where movement must be quiet
precise, and efficient. The seal is built for this hidden ocean, where movement must be quiet, precise, and efficient. The seal is built for this hidden ocean, where movement must be quiet, precise, and efficient. The seal is built for this hidden ocean, where movement must be quiet, precise, and efficient. The seal is built for this hidden ocean, where movement must be quiet, precise, and efficient. The seal is built for this hidden ocean, where movement must be quiet, precise, and efficient. The seal is built for this hidden ocean, where movement must be quiet, precise, and efficient. The seal is built for this hidden ocean, where movement must be quiet, precise, and efficient. The seal is built for this hidden ocean, where movement must be quiet, precise, and efficient. The seal is built for this hidden ocean, where movement must be quiet, precise, and efficient. The seal is built for this hidden ocean, where movement must be quiet, precise, and efficient.
Beneath the surface, the seal is not helpless. It belongs to the ocean in a way the bear cannot.
Its world is three-dimensional, shaped by pressure, breath, darkness, and memory. One animal walks on the frozen roof. One animal moves beneath it. Both are bound to the same ocean ice. The bear searches for the point where the seal's need for air meets the surface. The seal must choose when to rise, and sometimes survival means passing a doorway by. The most powerful image of the bear is not a roar. It is the weight of waiting. Somewhere below, a seal must breathe. Somewhere above, hunger is measuring time. Below the ice, the seal also waits, listening to a world it cannot fully see. A few meters of ice, distance, and timing can become the difference between danger and breath. For now, the ocean receives the seal again. When the scent changes, the bear must decide whether to wait, move, or spend more energy. A failed wait is not dramatic, but in the Arctic, it still has a cost. The bear's hunting ground is also a moving platform, shaped by temperature, wind, and sea. When the ice changes, the distance between predator and prey changes with it. The seal's survival depends on food below, air above, and ice stable enough to connect them. Fish becomes seal energy, and seal energy becomes part of the world above. The food web is not a diagram here. It is a path through water, ice, and wind. Rest is not weakness. In a place where every calorie matters, rest is strategy.
The ocean below is always active, even when the surface appears still.
The seal moves where the bear cannot walk, but it must always return to the surface for air. A crack in the ice can help the seal breathe and force the bear to travel farther. In Greenland, the shortest path is often impossible. The ice decides the journey. For the seal, open water can mean freedom, but also exposure. Neither animal controls this place. Both negotiate with the ice. The bear is a hunter, but it is also a listener in a frozen ocean landscape. The seal is prey, but it is also a specialist of water, pressure, ice, and breath. Without sea ice, the bear can still walk, swim, and search, but its most efficient world begins to vanish.
The seal also depends on ice, but in a different way, as sealing, shelter, and access to air. Both lives need ice, but not the same kind, not in the same way, and not at the same moment. Greenland's ice records movement, but only for a little while before the wind rewrites it. Storm, cold, hunger, and timing press on both animals at once. The bear's hunting ground is also a moving platform, shaped by temperature, wind, and sea. When the ice changes, the distance between predator and prey changes with it. The seal's survival depends on food below, air above, and ice stable enough to connect them. Fish become seal energy, and seal energy becomes part of the world above. The food web is not a diagram here. It is a path through water, ice, and wind. Rest is not weakness. In a place where every calorie matters, rest is strategy. The ocean below is always active, even when the surface appears still. The seal moves where the bear cannot walk, but it must always return to the surface for air. Here, survival becomes smaller, quieter, and no less exact. The Arctic fox is small enough to vanish, but clever enough to read every edge of this frozen world. Compared with the bear, the fox seems fragile, but in Greenland, needing less can be a kind of strength. It survives by scent, memory, timing, and the ability to change its strategy when the ocean coast changes. The fox does not dominate the landscape. It listens to it. And in a world where food is rare, even the smallest sound beneath snow can matter. Every movement must be worth the energy it costs. The coast gives the fox options: snow, stone, cliff, ice, and the ocean's leftovers. And in Greenland, flexibility can be as valuable as strength. And when the season changes, the fox changes with it. Its camouflage belongs to the season, not to one color. Summer does not make Greenland easy. It only opens a short window of possibility. Where the ocean feeds the birds, the cliff becomes a seasonal pantry for those who can read it. The fox takes opportunity where it appears, but every opportunity here is temporary. The ocean rises into the cliff through wings, and the fox waits below that movement. On this coast, balance is not only physical, it is the balance between hunger and risk. When food appears briefly, memory becomes a future meal. The fox survives by turning a scattered coastline into a map of chances. But the fox is not the only small life shaped by snow and sea. The Arctic hare survives by becoming part of the whiteness itself. Stillness can be protection when the landscape offers nowhere to hide. Every burst of movement must be measured, because speed also spends energy. Even in a frozen world, life searches for the smallest hidden food. The coast records many lives at once, but only until wind erases the page. Farther from the cliff, another kind of survivor follows the sparse food of the tundra.
For these animals, Survival is written close to the ground.
The food is not abundant. It must be uncovered one small patch at a time.
Their path is shaped by wind, snow depth, and the thin food left by a short season.
And then the tundra reveals animals built not for speed, but for endurance. Musk oxen carry warmth like a living shelter against the ocean wind.
Their coats are not decoration. They are insulation, armor against cold, and the memory of survival.
Like the hare and caribou, they live from what little the frozen ground allows.
In a place this exposed, the group itself becomes part of survival.
The sea does not feed every animal directly, but it shapes the weather every animal must endure. Many strategies cross the same frozen coast, each one answering the same question in a different way. Survival here is not one kind of greatness. It is many precise answers to cold, hunger, and time. The fox may be one of Greenland's most precise survivors, because it is never tied to only one chance. It searches the boundary where the ocean leaves small gifts and the tundra hides small meals. Opportunity is brief here, and the fox must know when to move on. Its world is not land or sea, but the thin line between them. In Greenland, even nearby lives may pass without drama, each saving energy for its own struggle. Some search constantly, some endure in place. Greenland allows both, but rewards neither easily. A few stems beneath snow can matter as much as a breathing hole in the ice. Every track belongs to an animal, spending itself carefully. The fox shows that survival is not always loud, large, or obvious. The tundra teaches another lesson. Endurance can be as cinematic as motion. As light fades, the frozen coast keeps its lives close and quiet. By morning, the story begins again, written in new tracks beside the sea. And where the fox follows the coast, the next great world of Greenland rises above the ocean. Beyond the quiet survivors of the tundra, the cliffs awaken into a city of wings, and the ocean begins to speak louder. Beyond the quiet survivors of the tundra, the cliffs awaken into a city of wings, and the ocean begins to speak louder. From far away, this cliff looked lifeless. Up close, it becomes one of Greenland's loudest expressions of survival. The ledges are narrow, the wind is constant, and yet life gathers here in astonishing numbers. In Greenland, abundance does not spread everywhere. It concentrates where the ocean can feed it. Every flight away from the cliff is a journey back to the sea. The birds search the openings, because beneath the ice, food begins to move. A single dive connects sky, cliff, ice, and ocean. Below the surface, the ocean gathers the energy that will return to the cliff. The sea gives, and the wings carry that gift back to stone. The cliff is not separate from the ocean. It is fed by every return. Each landing is precise, because space is scarce and the sea below is unforgiving. This is a city without walls, built from wind, rock, wings, and ocean food.
For the fox, the cliff is not noise. It is a seasonal map of opportunity.
The smallest hunter survives by reading what falls, what changes, and what disappears.
The ocean is being delivered upward, wing by wing.
Different birds use the same coast in different ways, but all are tied to what the ocean provides. Small wings can carry enormous meaning in a place where nutrients are rare. Around great colonies, the sea even changes the land, feeding soil that would otherwise remain poor. The cliff speaks for the ocean, and the ocean answers through wings. Beyond the cliffs, the coast opens again, and the scale of life begins to change. On the ice, walruses turn a drifting platform into a place of rest. Their bodies are built for cold water, but the ice still gives them a place to pause. The ocean receives them slowly, as if the boundary between ice and water belongs to both. Below the flow, another Greenland world opens, heavier, darker, and shaped by depth. Many marine mammals share the same frozen edge, each using ice and ocean in its own way. Some rest on the ice, some breathe through it, some pass beneath it almost unseen.
The same ocean that feeds the birds also carries the lives of seals, walruses, and giants still farther offshore. Farther from shore, the scale changes again. A humpback whale changes the entire fjord with a single breath.
The tail rises, and then the giant returns to the hidden ocean below.
Below the icebergs, Greenland becomes a three-dimensional ocean world.
Fin whales bring speed and scale to waters shaped by current, prey, and season.
These giants do not move randomly. They follow the ocean's invisible patterns.
Where plankton and fish gather, the largest bodies on Earth may follow.
The bowhead whale belongs deeply to the Arctic imagination, slow, massive, and built for icy seas.
Its body carries endurance across seasons, currents, and frozen waters.
In the dark below the ice, size becomes almost silent.
Then the ocean changes tone, and white shapes move through the fjord like living echoes.
Belugas move through sound as much as water, using voices to keep contact in a world of ice and shadow.
In cold and limited visibility, sound becomes a map. Some Greenland lives are visible only for moments, and others remain almost mythical.
Narwhals bring mystery not because they are fantasy, but because their real lives are so difficult to witness.
A single tusk above the water can feel unreal, but it belongs to a life shaped by ice, depth, and sound. Beneath the surface, they travel through a world where sound, pressure, and inherited roots matter more than sight. Greenland's ocean is not empty space. It is a layered world of roots, signals, and hidden feeding grounds.
Some animals stand on ice, some rest on it, some breathe through it, and some travel beneath it.
Together, they reveal Greenland not as an isolated island, but as part of a living Arctic Ocean network. The animals follow food, openings in ice, depth, temperature, current, and memory.
What begins as tiny movement in the ocean can rise into birds, seals, walruses, and whales.
But this ocean map is not fixed, and the rhythm that guides these lives is changing. When ice shifts, every root must be read again. The cliffs, the seals, the walruses, and the whales all depend on timing in the sea.
A change in one layer can echo through all the others.
And now, the frozen map that holds these lives together begins to change its rhythm. And now, the frozen map that holds these lives together begins to change its rhythm. In Greenland, change does not arrive as an idea. It arrives as thinner ice, wider water, and altered distance. A frozen road can become a maze, and every animal must learn the new shape of the ocean. For the polar bear, distance is not only space. Distance is energy. When ice breaks the route, the bear must walk farther, wait longer, and spend more of what it cannot easily replace. Its strength remains immense, but strength needs a platform. The bear is not defeated by one crack, but every extra distance adds pressure to its life.
Below the ice, the seal also faces a changing ceiling.
More open water can help a seal breathe, but unstable ice can change where it rests, hides, and raises young. The same change can offer one advantage while removing another. Nothing in Greenland has only one meaning. Ice can shelter, expose, connect, and separate.
For seabirds, the question is not only whether food exists, but whether it appears close enough and soon enough.
A longer flight can turn abundance into effort.
The cliff still lives, but its rhythm depends on a sea that is never still. For the fox, flexibility is survival, but even flexibility depends on what the season provides. It searches the coast as it always has, but the coast itself is beginning to answer differently. On land, change appears in snow depth, exposed ground, and the timing of the short feeding season.
The tundra animals endure weather from the sea, even when they do not feed directly from the ocean.
A small plant, a thin crust of snow, and a few warmer days can change the choices of animals above the sea.
And every part of Greenland returns to the ocean sooner or later.
For whales, changing ice can open new water, but it can also shift the food they follow.
When plankton and fish move, giants may change their routes. Belugas read the water through sound, but even sound travels through a changing landscape.
A route once held by ice and memory may become a route of new openings. Narwhals, too, move through a world where ice, depth, and sound must align.
The hidden routes of the Arctic are not fixed roads. They are living agreements with the frozen sea.
The animals are tough, but toughness does not mean independence. Specialization creates power, but it also creates dependence.
A body perfectly made for one rhythm may struggle when that rhythm begins to shift.
The bear, the seal, the fish, and the ice are not separate stories. A change in the sea can rise into the sky.
A change in the sea can reach the smallest hunter on the rocks. A change in snow and sesame can reach every hoofprint, pawprint, and hidden burrow. Greenland is not a place where life spreads evenly. It is a place where life gathers at the margins. To watch Greenland wildlife is to watch precision. A seal's quick breath, a bear, slow step, and a bird's shadow all belong to the same frozen system. Beneath the surface, the ocean remembers every layer of the story. A whale's breath above cold water can feel brief, but it carries a history older than maps. The fox reads the snow, the birds read the sea, and the whales read the currents. The bear reads the wind, and the seal reads the ice. Together, they turn Greenland's frozen edges into a living system. Nothing here is careless, and nothing here is guaranteed. Yet Greenland is not a dead white world. It is a world where life has learned to spend itself carefully. Here, harshness does not erase life. It sharpens it. The frozen world and the ocean world are not separate. They are one living boundary. Every breath, dive, flight, and step belongs to this fragile agreement between life and ice. Greenland wildlife does not live outside the harshness. It survives by reading the harshness. And as the ice changes, every track, every breath, every nest, and every migration must answer a new question. Survival here is not only about strength, it is about timing, precision, and the fragile promise between life and the frozen world that holds it.
This untamed wilderness, Kodiak Island, has weathered storms like this for millennia. The raw power of the North Pacific shapes everything here.
Kodiak Island. A place defined by the relentless weather and the unforgiving sea. Kodiak is defined by motion, not stillness. Here, the island breathes weather every hour, a wild, untamed cycle of rain and mist. They thought they knew this place, but the island guards its secrets with teeth and claw, a force of nature unmatched. From the highest peaks to the deepest valleys, every stream belongs to the ocean.
We see the mountains and the mist, but the sea remains the island's unseen engine, fueling the wind and the rain.
Kodiak is not empty. It is densely alive.
This is the island. A place defined by the relentless rhythm of the cold northern sea. Rain doesn't just fall, it sculpts the world around us, shaping every layer of life, ensuring the vibrant greens of this forest endure. The shoreline is a boundary that never stays fixed, constantly reshaped by the relentless power of the sea. From the churning coastlines to the highest peaks, Kodiak is an island of thresholds, vast and untamed. This is where the freshwater surrenders to the sea, and where the island's greatest energy begins.
Even deep inland, the sea is never far away.
Soon, the river will pulse with life, a silver tide returning to the waters of their birth, continuing the endless cycle.
This is a world governed by conditions, not comfort.
Here, the weather itself speaks, and the storms that crash against these cliffs are simply part of the island's normal language. Here on Kodiak, the land, the sea, and the sky are bound together. It is a single, unbroken living system. These tracks mean only one thing. The giant bear of the island is near, and we are entering its territory.
This is where the island begins to reveal its power.
It moved with deliberate force, an ancient shadow emerging from the mist and rain, searching for us. But the island's true story, the one etched into the stone and the water, begins far beyond this forest. Carried by the cold current from the high country toward the ocean, we transition now into the solemn and powerful territory of the bear. Here on Kodiak, the landscape is in constant motion, shaped by the relentless weather and the powerful creatures navigating these rugged paths. Beyond the fog lies the domain of the island's true master, and it does not welcome visitors.
A life-sustaining current flows through the forest. Soon, the salmon will begin their arduous journey, drawn back to these waters.
This is Kodiak, a place where the visibility itself changes by the minute.
Here, the forest becomes a sponge. Every drop of this cold rain is captured by the moss, storing the island's moisture deep within the earth.
Where the fresh water surrenders to the saline depths, the path home begins, though the way is long and shrouded in mist. They say this place has no beginning, only the endless churning of the sea and the whisper of the wind through the peaks. Every part of this land depends on the next. The water flowing from these mountains connects the entire system.
Rain defines this landscape, shaping the very stones and trees. But even in this relentless downpour, the first signs of life begin to stir.
As twilight fell over the riverbank, the island prepared to reveal its largest presence yet. Kodiak, a land of constant reveal and conceal. The cycle begins again. Driven by instinct, the salmon turn upstream, drawing the great bears back to the river's edge.
Flowing through this hidden corridor, the river sustains an intricate web of life. It is a delicate balance, one we are only beginning to understand. Energy returns to the island with every wave, a cycle as old as the sea itself, constantly renewed.
Kodiak is built from connections.
This island system shows us a simple truth. Nothing here exists alone. Everything is connected by water.
To truly know Kodiak, you must first accept that much of it will remain forever hidden, lost in the fog of time and tide. Soon, the salmon will return. Driven by an ancient instinct, they will face the torrent, seeking the waters of their birth. Weather is not background here, but structure.
The legends were true. The island holds a giant, and by the size of these prints, it's unlike anything we've ever known.
Isolation wasn't just a state of being here. It was the sculptor, carving these valleys and shaping the very nature of this untouched world.
Driven by ancient instinct, the salmon return. They fight the storm and the tide, completing a cycle as old as the river itself. The signs were everywhere, pointing towards a power unmatched in this wilderness. Soon, we would meet the bear. The true power of Kodiak lies not in a single landmark, but in the entirety of this immense, rugged coastline.
From the rugged coastlines, we move inland, into the heart of this secluded ecosystem. Here, the dense canopy thrives on the constant moisture.
The next chapter will reveal why this place can support giants. This is just the surface. The island's true story, the deeper system of life, is only beginning. The storm intensified, washing away the path. But it couldn't hide the tracks. The ruler of this island was close now.
This river is part of a vast, unending cycle. The water here will reach the distant ocean, only to return again as rain falling on the forest.
In this unforgiving landscape, the Kodiak stands alone. The quiet giant of the island. The bear's size comes from an island built on abundance and endurance. Power on Kodiak often arrives quietly. Rather than rush, the bear waits, studying the current's relentless flow.
Driven by instinct, the salmon return, bringing the pulse of the ocean to these shallow waters. The forest awakens.
These fish carry the sea into the forest.
This annual migration is the lifeblood of the wilderness. The salmon run is the bloodstream of the island, nourishing the forest and all its creatures. For the salmon, comfort is irrelevant. It is reproduction that drives this arduous journey upstream. The bear's movement is slow, exact, and powerful.
The catch is merely part of a much larger exchange, a critical moment in the ongoing saga of the salmon run and the bears that depend on it.
The salmon run bridges two worlds. From the vast ocean, this single fish brings the nutrients necessary to sustain the giants of the forest.
In the harsh reality of the Alaskan wilderness, every meal shapes this bear's winter survival, building the reserves needed to endure the lean months ahead.
A gathering place for predators and scavengers. The powerful current draws them all inevitably downstream.
Nothing on Kodiak feeds only one species.
The land does not forget. These prints, these scales, they are the memory of movement etched into the earth. The bear is built by seasons, not moments.
This is Kodiak's rhythm, a staggered abundance. When one stream rests, another wakes, and the bear knows exactly where to be.
The island's energy moves inland from the ocean.
Here, in the quiet cold, every step sinks deep into the wet moss. Every print left behind marks the island itself. The salmon are the engine of abundance. Their relentless journey upstream feeds the forest, the waters, and creatures like the bear.
And in the distance, evidence that this island supports more than one giant.
Kodiak's abundance is shared through timing and space. The bear's silence is not an absence of sound, but the sound of dominance itself, heavy and profound.
The entire island is connected by water, a continuous flow linking forest, river, and the distant sea.
Left behind on the riverbank, the salmon's body becomes a bridge, transferring vital ocean nutrients deep into the soil and the surrounding wildlife.
What the bear does not take is returned to the earth. What the bear does not keep becomes life for the land.
On Kodiak, the year is marked by seasonal doors. The bears move from the streams into the meadows as new food sources emerge. The bear survives on many foods, not one, shifting its diet from fish to the bounty of the forest floor. While it often grazes peacefully on the abundant vegetation, the bear remains a powerful presence, an apex predator moving through its domain. Kodiak's edges feed one another.
While recognized as a fierce river hunter, the coastal brown bear is also an opportunistic forager, scavenging the shoreline after the storm.
While the storm rages, the receding tide often leaves behind a bounty of food, scattered amidst the debris. Driven by the relentless coastal winds, this stretch of pebbles and driftwood becomes a shared feast for the great bear, the eagles, and the gulls. When the tide retreats, it uncovers a hidden layer of the island, teeming with life adapted to this rugged coast. The bear knows this loop well. The sea provides, but the land offers refuge when the weather turns.
It is here on Kodiak, everything is connected. The streams feed the forest protects the coast, and in this unity lies our strength.
Relentlessly, the journey continues. The salmon, driven by instinct, is still on its way home. The island feeds its giants in more than one season. Even the smallest plants play a vital role in the bear's survival, providing sustenance in this harsh landscape. Standing resolute against the storm, the Kodiak bear is the undisputed monarch, the visible peak of this island system.
The bear is shaped by the island. Its greatest power is the system that keeps it alive: the rain, the river, and the cold sea.
The salmon, fueled by the distant ocean, carry life upstream. The bear intercepts this energy, transferring the vitality of the sea.
The bear is only one part of a vast, interconnected living system. Here, the salmon, the river, and the forest are all linked in a delicate balance.
Driven by an ancient instinct, these salmon are the embodiment of energy carried home from the sea, fighting the relentless current.
For the salmon, every leap is a struggle. part of a powerful return to waters older than memory itself. Driven by instinct, the salmon begin their migration. It is a staggered pulse of abundance against the relentless river current. The island does not give everything at once.
The journey nears its end, and with it comes a profound change. Their scales ignite with the crimson hue of the spawning grounds.
For the creatures of this forest corridor, the river is more than just a waterway. It is a stage set for the ancient drama of the hunt. Here at the river mouth, freshwater meets the cold sea. It is a meeting place of worlds, where different currents collide and life thrives. Even death here feeds the island.
This is the hidden exchange between sea and land. The forest drinks deeply from the remains, a transfer of marine energy carried by the steady rain into...
The stream nourishes more than the fish. It brings life to the moss and the soil, sustaining the entire woodland ecosystem.
The forest edge acts as a profound record of feeding. The scattered remains of the salmon and the deep impressions of bear tracks. From the smallest creatures to the otter searching for salmon, all life here is bound by the same ancient, unending cycle.
Nothing on Kodiak goes unused for long.
Even in the harshest storms, the cycle continues. The island's scavengers are interconnected, bound by the same living chain.
While the larger predators have moved on, the salmon run continues to provide sustenance. Even the smallest creatures inherit this bounty.
Like a moving artery, the river transports vital nutrients, extending the reach of the salmon's gift far beyond the banks and deep into the valley soil.
As the rain falls, it gathers the richness of the forest floor, carrying nutrients from the roots directly into the stream, feeding the water below.
Here, on the island, distance collapses. Everything is connected, the stream to the sea, the forest to the fog. Here on Kodiak, the sheer abundance of the water spreads across the landscape, channeled through countless streams like veins in the earth. The rainforest thrives in this perpetual moisture. Every drop fuels the quiet, persistent growth of the moss and the rushing current of the stream. This is the final push. Against the relentless current and the coming storm, the salmon returns to the place of its birth to complete the circle of life.
As the rain fills these tracks, it connects the bear's trail to the salmon's route. Their paths are forever linked.
The island lived in his memory, a maze of scent and shadow. He followed the wet earth, a path worn deep by generations.
Driven by instinct, the salmon fight the current, unaware that in this rugged wilderness, the bear is never far from the run.
The bear's world, however, extends far beyond this stream, encompassing the hillside and the dense forest above. The prints tell a story of generations. The young must follow the path, learning the island's rhythm, even in the storm. Salmon-shaped family survival here. Without the energy supplied by these leaping fish, this mother and her cubs would not endure the coming lean months.
The reliable return of the salmon fundamentally changes their chance of successfully raising young.
The true abundance of this place isn't just seen, it's felt. Even in the silence, the river sings its ancient song of life. The island gives each creature a different map. For the salmon, it is the relentless current of the river.
It is through these numerous small channels that the whole system finds its resilience. Even here, in the cold shadows of the forest, abundance finds a way, spreading across space and time, carried on the current.
The next generation begins here. The forest provides shelter for the river. Roots, leaves, and needles create a damp canopy over the water, protecting it from the storm. But the true beginning of this epic journey wasn't in the shallow streams, but in the boundless depths of the sea. The ocean is not the edge of the story, but its source. On Kodiak, the landscape is defined by the constant, dramatic exchange between the mountains and the relentless power of the sea. Here, where the river meets the sea, the paths converge. The salmon's spawning trail and the bear's heavy print.
The chain of life begins high above. Rain nourishes the forest, and each drop finds its way to the river, sustaining creatures like the salmon below.
From the smallest salmon fighting the current to the eagle soaring high above the mist, every creature in this valley responds to the same ancient pulse. And so the salmon complete their journey, ensuring the sea lives inside the island, connecting forest and coastline in one continuous flow.
From the turbulent coast, we follow the river deeper into the island's heart, where the mist hangs heavy among the ancient spruce.
The forest is not separate from the river. It is shaped by its relentless power. Water connects everything here.
The island stores the weather in every leaf, every needle. Every drop moves from cloud to moss to stream to sea.
In this dense, wet environment, the rainforest acts as a crucial corridor of survival.
The forest hides as much as it reveals. This island is constantly being crossed by powerful animals, leaving their mark upon the land.
The energy of the river enters the forest floor. The forest receives what the river leaves behind. We describe the rainforest as a living sponge. It holds the water, regulates the flow, and sustains the delicate balance of this vibrant ecosystem.
Even far inland, the sea still speaks through rain.
We often think of it as one island, but in truth, it is many streams tied together, a single interconnected web of waterways.
Here on Kodiak, true beauty reveals itself in the moisture of the air and the quiet wisdom of restraint.
Here, in the quiet depths of the woods, the forest reveals itself as a keeper of water and ancient memory. Visibility itself is merely part of the island's enduring challenge. The fog rarely lifts here on the ridge. Even obscured by the fog and rain, the presence of the giant is undeniable. It watches from the shadows.
The forest is a living record. Every snapped branch and disturbed stone tells a story of what has passed this way.
The river's gift becomes the forest's fuel.
The island's ecosystem is quite literally built from layers beneath the surface, a deep foundation supporting the vibrant life you see here. This is Kodiak, a place where the land and water never separate. On this island, weather is not an interruption. It is simply the island's normal pulse.
And here, silently, the nutrients travel. Carried by the runnel water, the salmon remains returned to the soil, feeding the vast rainforest ecosystem.
This island, shrouded in mist, is more than just rock and soil. It is a chain of connected thresholds, each one leading to the next.
The forest offers another season of feeding after the fish.
Here, in the quiet rain, the island reveals its purpose. It feeds the giants, sustains the ancient bloodlines.
The forest does not end at one edge. It breathes, expands, stretching far beyond the river and this small clearing. These hidden side channels are the arteries of the Kodiak wilderness, a sheltered passage for water and the wildlife that depends on it.
From the smallest bird to the unseen insects, every tiny life here depends entirely on the same wet balance.
From the smallest stream to the highest peak, the forest canopy acts as the vital bridge, connecting the water below to the vast sky above.
The fog moves silently through the stillness of the ancient trees, revealing the hidden motion within the forest. Eventually, every single drop becomes a part of something larger.
It is instinct, etched into their very being. The island's creatures navigate this maze by memory alone.
Kodiak's power is not one scene, but the continuity between scenes.
Here, death is not an ending, but a transformation. The salmon gives itself back to the stream, ensuring the cycle continues.
Silently, the nutrients travel. The legacy of the salmon enriching the very ground that sustains this vibrant rainforest ecosystem.
This island, shrouded in mist, is more than just land. It is a chain of connected thresholds, each one leading to the next mystery.
The forest offers another season of feeding after the fish.
The island feeds giants in more ways than one. From the smallest berry to the largest creature, the cycle of life continues unbroken here in the rain-soaked wild. The forest does not truly end here at the meadow's edge. It continues on, vast and unending, stretching far beyond what the eye can see. The waterways of Kodiak are a network of hidden arteries, flowing beneath the roots and logs of the forest.
From the grandest trees to the tiniest sparrow, every life here depends on this delicate, wet balance. High above the canopy, the true scale of the forest is revealed, a bridge between the rushing river below and the open sky above.
This ancient forest appears still, yet it hides motion deep within its stillness. The fog drifts, the rain falls, and the river flows onward.
Every drop becomes part of something larger.
The island's animals navigate by instinct, memorizing the contours of the land. Even as the rain washes away their prints, the path remains imprint on their minds.
Kodiak's power is not one scene, but the continuity between scenes.
In this place, death is merely nourishment. The rain washes the salmon back into the soil, feeding the moss and fueling the perpetual cycle of the forest.
The light comes and goes quickly here, but even a momentary brightness reveals the true colors of this place, a stark beauty.
Even the smallest watercourse belongs to the same system. Giants move quietly here.
Rain connects the sky to the soil, but the salmon bring the ocean here, leaving behind signatures of their journey, reminding us that everything is connected.
As the river surrenders to the sea, we must face the cliffs. The next chapter will test our resolve against the coastal winds. The river pulls us toward the coast, through this cold green world, where Kodiak's rainforest remembers the sea. From the deep embrace of the rainforest, the river surges onward, relentlessly drawn towards the stormy expanse of the open sea. Here, where the river meets the North Pacific, the island's edge is never still. This island is constantly being rewritten by the relentless force of the sea. Most people look to the sun to tell the time, but here on Kodiak, the tide is our clock, governing the rhythm of our lives. This is the shoreline, the living edge between worlds, a place where the relentless sea meets the unyielding land in a timeless dance. The bear is not only a river hunter, but also a coastal forager, scouring the beach for sustenance after the storm. For the bear, this storm-tossed shoreline is nothing less than a temporary table, generously set by the indifferent sea. From high above, the eagle watches the same storm system unfold, undisturbed by the chaos below.
This is where freshwater meets the tide, a dynamic meeting place where hunters and scavengers gather, drawn by the currents of the ocean.
But life here is not limited to the largest creatures. Even the smallest animals, like these tide pool crabs, utilize the coast's resources, Kodiak. It's a place where the sea and the land exchange life with every tide. Here on the shore, the ocean leaves behind more than waves. It leaves the evidence of life and death, reclaimed by the scavengers of the tide.
Nothing on Kodiak is wasted for long.
The coast is more than just land and sea. It's a shared corridor of opportunity for all who call it home.
Twice a day, the retreating tide reveals a hidden world, teeming with life along this rugged coast.
The bear reads the coast as carefully as it reads the river.
The tide reveals a temporary marketplace of energy, a rich feeding ground where life congregates under the cold sky.
Predators and scavengers meet where the sea leaves its marks. The ocean breathes, a constant rhythm of opening and closing, revealing the secrets hidden beneath the waves. Standing resolute against the gale, the Kodiak is a creature forged by the wild embrace of both land and sea. Here, at the edge of the wild, every species understands the boundary. The bear claims the rock, the eagle the wind, but the ocean rules them both. Even the smallest birds are part of the same coastal rhythm.
This is a landscape born of conflict, a coastline sculpted, day after day, by the endless pressure of the storm.
The island's border is never a line, but a zone.
Though it appears a barren landscape, the intertidal zone is a densely populated world, a hidden metropolis clinging to the rocks. As the Great Bear returns to the shelter of the trees, we see that Kodiak life moves in loops. For the Great Bear, the line between the coastal bounty and the deep woods is blurred. It's all part of the same continuous feeding route. The ocean is a patient artist, continually redrawing the boundaries of the land with each retreating tide.
The coast is a place that remembers every visitor. Etched in the sand, their passing is marked, transient yet eternal.
As the salmon return, we are reminded that river, coast, and sea are not separate entities, but rather one continuous, flowing exchange.
The wind and rain are more than just elements. They are the sculptors, the island's true architects, constantly reshaping the land.
Kodiak cannot be understood from one angle alone.
Here on this rugged coast, survival is a daily negotiation. Between the waves, the wind, and each other, every meal is earned.
But the sea never stops returning to reclaim the shore.
The edge of Kodiak is a place where all movement converges. The bear navigates this world of water and stone, reading the ocean's story through scent as much as sight. This is a world that appears only briefly, revealed by the low tide, and soon reclaimed by the storm-tossed sea. With every weather front that hits this island, the coastline is dramatically altered. The storm connects the sky and the sea. And here, in this small pool, the ocean writes its enduring signature.
For the bear, life is a constant crossing. Leaving the shore behind marks the end of one cycle and the beginning of the next, always moving through the storm.
Every edge feeds another edge.
This island has always endured the darkness, but the time has come to embrace the light and forge a new legacy for those who remain.
Kodiak is not merely a land beside the sea. It is a world entirely built by it.
As the storm breaks over Kodiak, the island reveals its ancient heart, a rugged wilderness where every river tells a story of survival.
Kodiak is not one habitat, but a chain of many habitats joined by water.
The river is the island's moving memory, carrying the echoes of the past through the rain-soaked valleys.
Even the smallest signs of decay become nourishment here.
Everything here is connected to the water. The forest grows strong, fertilized by what the river leaves behind on the wet slopes.
The bear moves between worlds without ever leaving the island's system. The bear is not separate from the island, but made by it. In a place like Kodiak, every path followed by the Great Bear is part of an older, wilder rhythm. The island's wilderness is not one thing, but the result of many linked forces.
This fish is the pulse that keeps Kodiak alive.
The island's life rises and falls in one connected cycle. Even in the cold, steady rain, the bounty of the land persists. Kodiak ensures its giants find sustenance in every season.
The island provides both fish and fruit to sustain life.
Here, in the quiet moss, a small stream begins its journey. Yet, it is inextricably linked to the great. There are places on Kodiak where the sheer scale of the landscape consistently exceeds the eye, dwarfing everything beneath the clouds. The island stores the weather deep within its roots.
Here, death is not an ending, but merely another stage of renewal. The salmon gives itself back to the island.
Kodiak's abundance is spread across many doors. The island is a harsh teacher, but she ensures the lessons of survival are passed down through every generation. For this family, survival hinges on the reliable return of the salmon. Kodiak is an island built around return. It is a place where the wild finds its way back home, year after year.
Every river begins at sea.
The coast is not a border, but a pulse. They say nothing stays fixed for long on Kodiak. The land itself is constantly reshaped by the restless ocean. Every scavenger belongs to the same feeding web. The island's economy is absolute. Here on the shoreline, the gulls and ravens ensure that the sea wastes nothing.
The bear is a traveler, constantly moving between the island's feeding zones. Leaving the beach, he returns to the shelter of the river valley.
It is here, in these waters, that predator and prey share the exact same route. The salmon returns, a silver message carried on the current from the deep ocean. Here on Kodiak, we understand that everything lives by connection, not isolation. A breathing skin, alive with moisture. The rainforest inhales the fog and exhales life. Here in the forest, every small current of water joins the larger story, flowing into the main river downstream.
Here, the weather and light find their balance. The storm recedes, revealing the rugged peaks touched by the first rays.
The sea never stops speaking, even when the storm fades.
In the relentless motion of the tide, we see the ocean's dual nature. It provides, and in the very next breath, it takes back its own.
The bear, standing vigilant on the cliffs, is the visible result of the island itself. It is the embodiment of this wild place.
The bear does not rule Kodiak alone. It is shaped by Kodiak. The island is a living chain of water, weather, and flesh.
Even brief light cannot tame the island, only reveal it.
The storms rage, and then they pass. Here on Kodiak, the landscape endures, constantly reshaped, yet eternally itself.
The island is never finished. It is only continuing. Ultimately, Kodiak is built entirely from the return of life from the sea. Wilderness here is not absence, but a living relationship.
Kodiak is not simply an island that has bears, but an island built around the return of life, a wild kingdom that still speaks through rain, surf, and silence.
Siberia is a place where nature does not follow human rules, but writes its own.
As in Siberia, survival begins long before movement begins, because the land itself decides what is possible. Every footprint is a story, and every story in Siberia is written in cold, distance, and time. A powerful season, cold enough to freeze rivers into silence. Yet the smallest blades of grass find a way to endure. The forest is not just a backdrop in Siberia. It is the system that determines where life can hide, feed, and survive.
In Siberia, animals rarely waste energy, because the cost of a mistake is always higher in winter.
That even water in Siberia must obey the season, slowing down until it becomes a locked, glassy mirror. Siberia is a continent-sized test of endurance, where every living creature must calculate calories, shelter, and timing,
The bear does not merely live through Siberia. It reads the year, season by season. That in spring, the bear emerges from winter, carrying the memory of all the energy it stored before the cold closed in. Survival here often begins with scent, patience, and the ability to find what winter tried to bury. Early in the year, the bear is not hunting glory. It is rebuilding strength.
In Siberia, every season offers a different challenge, and the bear must adapt to all of them. Siberia's summer is brief, but for the creatures that live here, it is the most valuable time of all.
That the bear must eat heavily, because in Siberia fat is not weight alone. It is time stored inside the body.
For the bear, the landscape is a changing menu. From the sweetness of berries, it shifts its focus to the silver flash of fish, moving.
Autumn is the urgent season, when every creature must prepare before the land closes once more.
The bear must become heavy enough to survive the time when the forest gives almost nothing back. The hibernation is not escape, but strategy, a deliberate answer to a world that no longer rewards movement.
When the land becomes too expensive to cross, the bear obeys Siberia's oldest rule: do not waste life on what winter cannot return.
Hunters of distance, reading snow, wind, and movement like an open map. And the pack survives not through raw speed alone, but through shared effort and the refusal to waste strength. In Siberia, deep snow punishes impatience, and cold punishes failure. That the wind is not empty in this land. It carries information, danger, and opportunity. Wolves do not hunt blindly. They search for weakness, timing, and the smallest advantage. A hunt in Siberia is never simple domination. It is negotiation with distance.
The Eurasian lynx, a predator of silence, closeness, and restraint.
That the lynx does not need a pack because it survives by becoming nearly invisible. In Siberia, patience is not passive. It is a weapon. A failed chase wastes energy the lynx may not easily replace.
Beyond the forest lies a different Siberia, one where survival belongs to movement across emptiness.
In the tundra, hiding is harder, distance matters more, and every body is exposed to the horizon.
Flexibility is the fox's great advantage, because Siberia rewards those who can change before the land forces change.
Here in the tundra, abundance is temporary. This brief explosion of life must be used immediately, for the cold will soon return. The open space is not empty space. It is simply a place where life must solve exposure in different ways.
The Amur tiger, one of the great predators of the cold forest, a creature of heat inside winter.
This tiger survives in a landscape far from the warm jungle of human imagination.
Every step matters, because deep snow can steal energy as fast as hunger can. The tiger's strength is real, but its power depends on forests, prey, and the space to move unseen. In Siberia, the apex predator is never independent of the system beneath it.
Siberia is a continent-sized lesson in endurance, and that the next parts will reveal how life survives when...
The taiga is not simply a forest, but the vast living structure that decides how Siberia survives. In Siberia, the forest is measured not by beauty alone, but by what it can hide, protect, and sustain. Even the smallest organisms in the taiga must endure the same season that shapes bears and wolves.
In Siberia, water never stops existing, it only changes its form.
Winter in the taiga rewards observation. Because nothing here is ever truly still.
Large animals do not dominate Siberia. They negotiate with it. In winter, food is hidden, so every mouthful must be earned. That the forest is shaped not only by growth, but by collapse, decay, and return. Small animals in Siberia survive by speed, memory, and precision. Every movement in the taiga leaves a trace, and every trace can become danger. The taiga changes constantly, creating refuge in one place and exposure in another. Siberia is read through signs, not through certainty. Birds in the taiga survive by remembering what the ground cannot reveal. Everything in Siberia is connected below the surface as well as above it. Siberia does not move from winter to summer in a single leap. It opens in stages. Thaw is not just warmth returning, it is the forest waking up. In Siberia, life returns cautiously, understanding that the cold never fully disappears. Summer in the taiga is short, but it arrives with intensity. When the forest opens, every animal must act fast. Abundance in Siberia is often small, scattered, and temporary.
The taiga becomes alive quickly once the snow retreats, but it will not stay open for long.
Summer is a brief flood of opportunity for predators, herbivores, and scavengers alike. Nothing in Siberia is wasted, because every source of energy has value. Small predators survive by listening to the forest before they enter it. The taiga in summer is not less dangerous, it is simply more active. Prey in Siberia survives by reading danger before danger begins to move. The air above the taiga is also part of this same ecosystem. Every season in Siberia closes like a door that cannot be held open. The bear must store the future in its body before winter arrives. Weight in Siberia is not excess, it is survival made visible. When the forest begins to close, many creatures leave, but others remain and endure. Wolves do not wait for perfect conditions. They follow the land as it changes.
Here, in the fading light, we see the true master of concealment. The lynx understands that stillness is its greatest advantage.
The forest can hide a predator so completely that the prey may pass only meters away. Siberia's strength is not noise, but persistence.
The true story of Siberia begins when the forest is no longer empty, but alive with creatures that have learned to survive its silence. Every step the bear takes costs energy, and energy in Siberia is never spent without purpose.
In a land this harsh, smell becomes a form of intelligence. Siberia teaches one rule above all others: use what is available before it disappears. As spring arrives, the cold water still dictates the pace of life in the wilderness.
Siberia's summer is not long, but it is intense, and every animal must live fast enough to use it. This is the season when the bear must build its future inside its own body.
A Siberian bear does not live on one kind of food. It reads the land as a moving pattern of opportunity. Autumn is the season of urgency, when the forest begins to close and the bear must prepare for silence. That wait is not excess in Siberia. It is stored time, stored energy, and stored survival. When the land becomes too expensive to cross, the bear chooses stillness over waste.
The wolves, hunters of distance, movement, and endurance.
In Siberia, even teamwork must obey the laws of the snow. Every mile in Siberia has a price, and the wolves pay only what they must.
Wolves do not hunt by impulse, but by reading weakness, timing, and the shape of the land.
A hunt in Siberia is a negotiation between hunger and risk.
A wolf survives by noticing what others miss.
The pack is not only a hunting unit, it is a school of memory.
Siberian wolves survive by turning distance into information, and information into endurance.
The lynx is the predator of closeness, silence, and restraint.
The lynx does not need to announce itself, because the forest itself helps it disappear.
In Siberia, waiting is not passive, it is a tactical choice.
The smallest moments can become the most dangerous when the hunter has vanished into the background.
Some predators survive not by chasing far, but by striking precisely. The lynx teaches a simple truth. In Siberia, restraint can be as powerful as force.
The taiga is not empty. It is crowded with invisible histories.
Even scavengers and watchers play their part in Siberia's balance.
From the depths of winter to the height of summer, every creature here exists inside a system of pressure, timing, and opportunity.
Survival in Siberia often depends on finding food where the season has made it hardest to reach.
The smallest hunters also follow the same law: conserve, adapt, and wait.
Siberia does not just change color, it changes the cost of being alive.
As the taiga closes, the land ahead becomes wider, emptier, and more exposed.
Migration is not a luxury in Siberia. It is one of the oldest answers to winter.
The next chapter of Siberia belongs to space, wind, and the animals that can live without cover.
The creatures of the taiga are only the first half of Siberia's story, and beyond the forest lies a harsher world where survival depends on a different kind of strength.
Beyond the taiga lies a different Siberia, where survival belongs to those who can live in open space. That the tundra is not empty land, but a hard world where every life is exposed and every decision matters. But in the tundra, even the air becomes part of the challenge, shaping how animals move, breathe, and survive. Migration here is not a tradition for beauty. It is a necessity, written by season and hunger.
Reindeer survive by movement, memory, and the ability to keep going when the land offers almost nothing.
On the tundra, even resting is a negotiation with the weather. Winter food is buried here, and every mouthful must be dug out of the cold. This is a place where hiding is difficult, and distance becomes a force of survival. The tundra appears simple from far away, but every layer of it hides a struggle for life.
In the frozen expanses of the Arctic, The fox survives through a mastery of flexibility, extreme caution, and recognizing opportunity.
Survival in the tundra often depends on seeing what others miss before the storm changes everything.
The fox does not rely on one method. It changes strategy whenever the season demands it.
In Siberia, summer arrives briefly but intensely, turning the white plain into a living surface of water, plants, and insects. The fox survives by using whatever the season gives it, and whatever the larger predators leave behind. The tundra is not generous, but it is full of chance for those who know how to look. In the tundra, every body is visible from far away, so survival demands caution at every step. That the tundra is a landscape of traces, and those traces are often all that remain after movement passes. Even in the open tundra, water still shapes movement and memory. That the tundra belongs to travelers, not to those who stand still. In Siberia, the next generation survives by following paths older than memory.
The open land can change in moments, and those moments can decide whether an animal lives through the day.
That on the tundra, the weather does not simply surround life, it actively shapes it. When the land offers no shelter, even a small rise in snow can become protection. Reindeer do not conquer the tundra. They endure it by refusing to lose direction. The cold here does not merely touch the skin. It tests the body from the inside out. In the far north, darkness is not only a time of day, it is part of the geography. What seems empty above can be crowded with life below. The tundra teaches predators to listen for life they cannot see. The tundra preserves absence as clearly as it preserves life. Sometimes, survival in Siberia means standing alone while the world disappears around you. Flexibility is not a luxury in the tundra. It is the difference between continuing and ending. Every day on the tundra begins with a new map, drawn by wind, snow, and motion. Siberia speaks through signs, and the tundra writes those signs in the cleanest possible lines. Endurance in the tundra is not a single act, but a chain of repeated decisions. Even the smallest elevation matters when the world is otherwise flat and exposed. In a country this open, vigilance is a form of survival equal to strength. Birds, too, survive by reading timing, because in Siberia the right moment can be as important as the right place. In the vast expanse of the tundra, even a brief, thawing pool of water can become a vibrant, temporary world. The tundra does not bloom loudly. It returns in small, determined signs. Siberia's open country is never fixed. It changes with the calendar, the wind, and the availability of food. Even in the brief season of warmth, the tundra does not become easy. The fox must balance hunger with caution, because a single mistake can erase a week of survival. The tundra is not just a landscape of cold, it is a landscape of distance. The tundra teaches one of Siberia's greatest lessons. Life survives by knowing exactly when to move, when to wait. Beyond the tundra lies another Siberia, where the forest changes shape but the law of survival remains the same.
This vast, frozen wilderness of the Russian Far East is home to one of the world's greatest predators, the Amur tiger.
In Siberia, even the largest predator must move with caution, because every step leaves a message behind. The Amur tiger, a creature shaped by cold, space, and silence. This tiger does not survive through speed alone, but through precision. Deep snow can punish even the strongest body, forcing the tiger to choose its path carefully. The Amur tiger survives not by chasing endlessly, but by using the land itself as part of the hunt.
Every hunt begins long before motion, in the silence before the strike.
In Siberia, energy is the true currency, and the tiger must spend it wisely. The tiger depends on forests that remain connected, prey that remains abundant, and space that remains undisturbed.
The tiger is a symbol of force, but in Siberia, even force must obey the season.
The tiger's beauty is not separate from its struggle. It is part of the same survival story. Siberia's most powerful predators are never independent of the animals beneath them.
The tiger's strength is not only in its body, but in its ability to remain unseen until the right moment.
That the hunt in Siberia is sudden, but it is always built on hours of patience.
The tiger's world is not frozen forever. It breathes, changes, and resets with the seasons.
In Siberia, even the sound of a branch can be enough to decide whether life continues. The tiger must use the warm months to hold territory, feed, and remain strong for the cold that will return.
Autumn in Siberia is not a gentle ending, but the start of another struggle.
The land here is not only land, but a system of forest, river, snow, and timing.
Siberia holds another world entirely, a frozen inland sea of ancient depth.
Baikal is not an ocean, yet it feels like one locked inside the continent.
The lake is ancient enough to hold its own rhythms, its own silence, and its own species. This is the Baikal seal, the only seal species that lives entirely in fresh water. This creature belongs to a world where ocean-like life exists far from the sea. The lake is both roof and pathway, shelter and exposure, all at once. Survival beneath the ice depends on the link between air and water, between breath and movement.
Baikal's winter is not empty. It is alive beneath the surface.
Even in the coldest months, life remains connected to the surface by the narrowest of openings.
What looks impossible from a distance is simply ordinary life in an ancient system. Siberia is strongest when it is layered, not simple.
Even frozen water has its own weather.
Look closely, and you'll see how the lake preserves time, the way stone preserves memory. Beneath the winter roof, another world continues without interruption.
Baikal changes the emotional scale of Siberia, opening a depth that feels older than human memory. Every part of Siberia is connected, even the places that seem separate. The same rules that govern the taiga also reach here, shaping the lives that depend on the lake's frozen rhythm. That even the greatest cat in the region depends on healthy forests, prey populations, and a landscape that can still support life. Siberia's beauty is inseparable from its pressure. That life in Siberia survives by finding tiny openings in a world built to close them.
Baikal is not just a lake. It is a memory of the planet held in frozen silence.
That the tiger, the seal, the bear, and the fox all depend on the same truth. No creature stands outside the land that shapes it.
Siberia is not one landscape, but many worlds connected by a single law of survival, and that the final part will reveal how fast that law is being rewritten.
Siberia is still wild, but wild does not mean untouched. In Siberia, even the calendar is beginning to shift. When winter loosens its grip, the land does not simply awaken, it rearranges itself. In Siberia, ice is not only a surface, but a route, a shelter, and a warning. The first sign of change is often not what appears, but what disappears. A bear shaped by old timing must now read a new forest. That when the season shifts, even the first step outside the den becomes a calculation.
Wolves do not survive by memory alone. They survive by constantly adjusting to what the land has become.
In Siberia, the path itself can become uncertain. If snow becomes harder, colder, or more sealed, migration becomes more costly for every herd. For the young, every altered route is a lesson in how the world has changed. Small animals feel climate change first because the ground itself changes under them. Flexibility is the foxer's strength, but even flexibility has limits when the entire season begins to move. The tundra does not transform all at once. It changes in fragments, and each fragment matters. When insects arrive earlier or later, the whole food chain has to answer. In Siberia, timing is a form of survival as important as strength. Wildfire is one of the clearest signs that the rules are changing faster than the forest can recover.
A forest may regenerate, but the animals living through the transition must survive the gap between loss and return. Siberia's resilience is real, but it is not invincible.
That when frozen ground thaws, the land does not simply become wetter. It reorganizes drainage, vegetation, and movement. Change in Siberia often begins below the surface before anyone sees it above. When the ground shifts, large herbivores must change their routes, and predators must follow those changes. The hunt becomes harder when the map itself begins to rewrite. Even a silent predator depends on the shape of the land, and the land is no longer stable in the same way. Siberia can heal, but healing does not mean a return to the old rhythm.
The tiger needs connected forest, healthy prey, and enough space to move without losing energy.
The apex predator is never independent of the system beneath it. Even the deepest old systems are not outside change.
That for the Baikal seal, stable ice is not scenery. It is the foundation of breathing, resting, and reproduction.
When the timing of the ice changes, the Baikal seal must adapt immediately or risk losing the vital connection between water and air.
Siberia's frozen surface hides life that depends on delicate rhythms the eye cannot see. The most dangerous kind of change is not total change, but change arriving all at once.
Animals shaped by thousands of years of timing may struggle when the clues no longer arrive in the right order.
This migration is harder when every old path becomes uncertain. Siberia is still immense,
but immensity does not protect it from change. That when food patterns shift, the hunter must shift with them or lose its place in the system.
Siberia has always been a world of forests, ice, open land, and deep water, but now those worlds are being asked to live under new rules.
Each creature survives in its own way, but all of them answer to the same land. Siberia is the frozen wilderness where nature still rules, not because it never changes, but because everything that lives here must learn to change with it.
Look closely at the deep blue. This is the Pacific, an ocean so vast it holds more than half the free water on the planet.
The Pacific, an endless blue world stretching across a third of the globe, holds secrets we are only beginning to uncover. The
ocean, a living system vast beyond measure, holds secrets we are only beginning to understand. The Pacific, vast and untamed. From here, its sheer scale and raw power are undeniable.
The subtle waves and shimmering sunlight reveal the true depth and meditative power of the open Pacific, pure and real.
Far from the shore, the ocean reveals its true scale. It is a single, continuous world, deep and boundless. Here, beneath the vast expanse of the sky, the true scale of the Pacific reveals itself.
The Pacific Ocean breathes under the wind and light. Tiny ripples spread across the deep blue water, emphasizing its vastness and enduring mystery.
The varying shades of blue across the Pacific reveal a complex topography beneath the waves, with light currents contrasting against the deepest channels.
As dawn breaks across the horizon, the Pacific Ocean awakens, its waters shimmering with the first light of a new day. This is the Pacific. This is the Pacific. A planet within a planet. Its silent depths hold mysteries far greater than the land above. As we glide closer to the water, the sunlight creates a pathway, inviting us deeper into the story of the Pacific.
The Pacific Ocean. A silent, living expanse of endless blue water, setting the stage for a journey into one of the most powerful
Across the vast expanse, the sea shifts gently, a timeless dance of light and shadow on the water.
This is the Pacific, the largest ocean on Earth, stretching across a third of the globe. Its quiet scale is immense and timeless. As we descend beneath the waves, we approach the threshold of a hidden world, waiting to be discovered.
Beautiful and immense, the Pacific Ocean stretches beyond the horizon, a powerful force of nature.
A boundless expanse of the Pacific, where the deep blues of the foreground give way to lighter tones, hinting at unseen depths and currents.
This shining path across the water marks the beginning of an epic voyage into the heart of the Pacific Ocean.
The ocean is a living entity, vast and layered, its surface constantly shifting.
Beneath these drifting clouds lies the largest ocean on Earth, peaceful yet incredibly powerful.
The Pacific's overwhelming scale, with the horizon line almost dissolving into the sky and the ocean appearing as a single continuous world without visible edges.
Away from the familiar shores, we glide deeper into the Pacific, drawn toward the unknown mysteries waiting beyond the horizon. This is the Pacific. Vast, untouched, and ancient. A world still wild.
The vast Pacific presents a study in contrasts. While the surface here is still, immense power is gathering just beyond the horizon.
Measured and deep, the ocean breathes. And if you listen closely, you can hear its ancient voice.
The Pacific. So vast, so mysterious. Our journey across its endless expanse begins now. The great ocean stirs as light touches the horizon, painting the waves in hues of silver and gold.
Stretching across a third of the globe, the Pacific is the largest and deepest of the world's oceans, a force of nature unmatched.
From the open surface, we now descend into the layered world beneath the Pacific's visible skin.
Beneath the calm surface, powerful currents flow, secrets hidden in the deep blue expanse. Underneath the towering clouds, soft shadows drift across the Pacific, revealing a living map of the ocean's depth and motion. This band of light marks the beginning of our descent into the hidden structures of the Pacific, a journey into the unknown depths. Before you, the Pacific reveals its true scale. No shoreline, no lights, only water and sky meeting the horizon.
This vast blue expanse covers 70% of our world, yet we have explored less than 5% of its depths. The Pacific surface shifts beneath a thin veil of cloud shadow, the movement subtle but constant, suggesting a living ocean far beyond what the eye can easily read. The movement subtle but constant, suggesting a living ocean far beyond what the eye can easily read.
From these shores, the true scale of the Pacific reveals itself, a seamless expanse of water and sky. Sweeping across the vast expanse, the waves move with relentless energy, while the horizon stands as a silent witness to the ocean's scale. As we descend from the open sky, we begin to penetrate the deeper layers of the Pacific, where light and structure start to emerge. The Pacific Ocean, vast and seemingly endless under the late morning sun, but as we move closer, we begin to see Look closely, and you see chaos. But pull back, and the Pacific reveals itself as a single, immense body of water.
As we begin our journey across the Pacific, we prepare for the richer ecosystems and deeper dynamics that lie beneath the surface. This vibrant reef, untouched and pristine, provides shelter, hunting grounds, and nurseries for countless marine species. As the sunbeams pierce the turquoise water, the curious loggerhead surveys its ancient home, a world teeming with life and color. A stunning panorama of the Coral Triangle. Here, warm water and crystal clear visibility reveal a breathtaking depth. Here, in the quiet currents of the reef channel, the shark moves not as a predator, but as a stabilizing force in the ancient hierarchy.
Within this vibrant coral ecosystem, every centimeter matters. Tiny organisms work together in a compact world where every gap.
The crystal clear waters reveal an intricate tapestry of life. Coral structures provide shelter for schools of fish.
The bright coral zone slowly gives way to the darker outer edge, hinting at the vast open ocean waiting just beyond the shelter of the reef. The green sea turtle glides effortlessly over the vibrant coral shelves, a majestic resident of this thriving underwater ecosystem. This fragile ecosystem relies on a delicate balance. Warm, stable water, clear visibility, and healthy circulation are.
The reef survives through structure and hiding places. It is a story of constant adaptation, ensuring life thrives amidst the deep blue.
Here, in the sun-dappled corridors of the coral reef, life thrives in countless forms, each scale and texture brought to life in stunning detail.
These vibrant corals form the architecture of a hidden metropolis, where schools of fish navigate the currents like traffic on invisible roads.
A larger reef predator passes, forcing the smaller fish close to the coral. It is this constant tension between safety and danger that
the camera drifts down towards the reef floor, revealing a hidden world where minute details and tiny organisms flourish among the coral.
Beyond the safety of the coral lies the true ocean, an endless expanse promising mystery and solitude.
As the current strengthens, the ecosystem responds. The school of fish adjusts its formation, and coral fronds sway dramatically with.
Here, in the densest part of the reef, life thrives in dazzling complexity. But the open ocean awaits just beyond the sanctuary of the coral.
The ocean opens up before us, a vast expanse of blue leading into the deep unknown.
This vibrant reef is just one layer. Deeper down, the Pacific reveals its true scale, hinting at the larger journeys that lie ahead.
This is the dividing line, where the rich tapestry of the shallows ends and the profound blue expanse of the Pacific begins.
We leave the vibrant complexity of the reef behind now, drifting out into the vast, silent blue of the open ocean. The outer edge is a proving ground. Beyond lies the vast Pacific, a world of invisible routes and journeys far larger than the reef itself.
As the vibrant reef gives way to the endless blue, a new chapter in the Pacific's story begins.
Leaving the vibrant city of the reef behind, we venture now into the vastness of the open ocean.
As the reef fades into darkness, the open Pacific calls, Here, whales, sharks, and tuna begin their invisible route. The vibrant reef pulses with life, a delicate balance sustained for millennia. But beyond its boundary,
leaving the bright world of the reef behind, we venture into the open blue water, beginning a much larger ocean story.
The coral doorway closes behind us as we venture forth into the vast, untamed expanse of the Pacific Ocean.
Drifting through this endless blue expanse, one feels both the profound beauty and the intimidating isolation of the deep Pacific.
A vast, untouched wilderness stretching to the distant horizon. The ocean swells move in mesmerizing parallel lines.
Far from a featureless void, the Pacific reveals itself as a dynamic living corridor, marked by invisible boundaries and the pathways of life.
The open Pacific is constantly moving, swell after swell, even when it appears still.
The reef vanished, revealing the true scale of the deep ocean, a world both cold and mysterious. Across the Pacific, subtle wave patterns create invisible highways, shaped by the currents far below and the promise of feeding zones. The ocean currents reveal a hidden world, a living map of motion, distance, and raw energy coursing through the water. Something vast approaches. One of the Pacific's great travelers, rising from the depths. A majestic sight, reminding us of the raw, untamed power that still exists in the deepest parts of our world.
Few creatures rival the scale of the humpback whale as it moves effortlessly through the vast Pacific.
In the vastness of the open Pacific, the arrival of the mako changes everything. A perfectly evolved predator gliding through the blue.
The shark moves with confident control, reading the ocean through scent, pressure, and subtle movement rather than sight alone.
This subtle shift in temperature signals a convergence zone, a hidden oasis where prey species gather in vast numbers.
As quickly as they appear, the sharks vanish back into the blue distance, reinforcing the idea that these predators are part of a broader, invisible system.
The sharks move through the Pacific, following the currents. They turn the empty blue water into a field of living signals.
Below the drifting light, the ocean feels truly alive, a deep and vibrant world where shadows glide through the currents.
This fragile ecosystem relies entirely on warm, stable water. Clear visibility and healthy circulation are essential for its survival. As the reef slopes downward, the vibrant colors of the shallows gradually yield to the deep blue shadows of the vast Pacific Ocean beyond. The reef survives through structure, offering hiding places and demanding constant adaptation as larger species move nearby. Here, amidst the sun-dappled coral corridors, the yellow snappers find refuge, their scales catching the light as they move deeper into the blue.
Welcome to the underwater city of the Pacific. Here, corals form the architecture, and schools of fish navigate the current.
The arrival of the predator underscores the constant tension defining the reef's living balance. Safety is found only within the coral's embrace.
The bright tropical waters hide a world of intricate detail. Moving closer to the reef floor reveals the minute organisms that call.
The reef appears to breathe, a symphony of tiny movements orchestrated by its smallest inhabitants.
Continuing deeper, we find the reef at peak density, a sense of abundance that feels almost impossible to comprehend.
For the ancient mariner, the boundary is merely a starting point, a doorway to the deeper mysteries.
These currents carry vital nutrients and drifting organisms through the coral. This constant motion is essential, sustaining the reef from within. A synchronized burst of motion keeps the school safe, yet survival ultimately relies on the instinct to disappear into the complex reef structure. Here, precision is paramount. Different species occupy different layers and crevices, demonstrating the remarkable efficiency of a stronger current sweeps across the reef. The fish adjust their movements, and the coral fronds begin to sway, responding to the ocean's invisible energy.
The outer sections of the reef mark a dramatic shift. The crowded, shallow ecosystem gives way to the open Pacific, where
a final glimpse into the reef's crowded heart, where sunlight ignites the water and tiny lives flash through the coral maze before we move away. As the coral structure thins, the ocean begins to feel less like a city and more like an open corridor leading elsewhere.
The bright tropical world is only one layer of the Pacific, and larger journeys still lie ahead.
Here, where the sunlight fades, the vibrant life of the shallow reef gives way to the vast expanse of the open Pacific.
This final patch of coral teems with life, a stark contrast to the deep blue waiting beyond the drop-off.
Here, in the vast blue expanse, lies an island of life, a vibrant ecosystem whose richness stands in fragile contrasts.
These small pioneers venture into the blue abyss, testing the waters beyond the safety of the reef. They reveal,
from the shallow brilliance of the reef, we venture now into the deeper mysteries of the Pacific, beginning its next chapter.
Leaving the crowded reef behind, the ocean currents carry us outward into the vast, open blue. The reef gives way to the open Pacific, a vast wilderness where whales, sharks, and tuna navigate invisible journeys across the deep blue.
The vibrant chaos of the coral gives way to the profound calm and immense scale of the open ocean.
The vibrant life of the reef gives way to the vast expanse of the open blue water, where the true scale of the ocean story begins.
Beyond the sunlit shallows lies the open ocean, a vast expanse of profound depth and mystery.
The Pacific Ocean stretches out, an endless blue desert with no shelter in sight, a place of profound beauty and isolation.
Long swells move across the surface in parallel lines, reflecting the sun in shimmering silver paths towards the distant horizon.
The open Pacific is not empty water, but a living corridor. Faint changes in color suggest hidden temperature boundaries.
The open Pacific is constantly moving, even when it appears still. A lone swell rolls through, followed by another and another.
Beyond the reef, the true ocean reveals itself. Colder, deeper, a vast and mysterious world unlike anything known before.
Subtle wave patterns crossing the Pacific like invisible highways, hinting that this open space is shaped by current direction, temperature, and feeding zones.
This is a living map of motion, distance, and energy. Cloud shadows glide across the water, revealing the ocean's immense power.
Far below the surface, a shadow emerges. One of the Pacific's great travelers begins its ascent. Rising from the deep, the humpback reminds us of the raw, untamed majesty of the natural world. With a powerful thrust of its massive fluke, the whale propels itself deeper, navigating the vast expanse of the open ocean. The Pacific is a vast migration corridor, where movement can span thousands of miles. Breaking the ocean's stillness with a moment of raw power, the whale returns to the Pacific depths. The deep ocean welcomes back its leviathan. With a powerful sweep of its fluke, the whale begins its silent journey into the blue abyss.
The open ocean empty again after the whale passes, making its brief appearance feel even more meaningful, as if the Pacific hides giant journeys in plain sight.
The open blue water holds many secrets, but none as formidable as the predator now gliding through its depths.
The shark reads the ocean not only through sight, but through a complex sensory array detecting scent, pressure, and subtle changes in the water's movement.
The shark passes through a faint boundary of cooler water, revealing a hidden current edge. It is here that prey gathers and larger marine life converges.
As the shark disappears into the blue distance, we are reminded that these predators are merely one part of a vast, invisible system.
The sharks move through the invisible structure of the Pacific, turning the vast blue expanse into a field of living signals. Here, in the deep blue, the gray reef sharks navigate a world shaped by unseen currents.
Tuna patrol the open ocean, their sleek bodies engineered for speed, capable of crossing vast distances in their endless migration. Each fish reacts instantly to the others, creating a living formation that moves with absolute synchronization through the water.
Utilizing their muscular power, the school accelerates, turning sharply to vanish into the deeper blue, emphasizing.
From the depths they rise, guided by the sun's illuminating reach, joining the aerial hunters in a synchronized pursuit.
In the open Pacific, invisible feeding routes guide the hunters. Tuna, sharks, and seabirds converge,
Driven by instinct and the constant currents, life in the Pacific gathers around unseen structures, creating these sudden bursts of chaos.
Here, in the broad expanse of the open ocean, species interact at every depth, following invisible pathways.
Tiny drifting organisms suspended in the blue water, the foundation of the food web that supports larger fish, sharks, whales, and the entire Pacific migration system. Subtle ripples and current seams crossing the water, marking where warm and cold layers meet, and where marine life may gather in surprising density. Stretching across a third of the planet, the Pacific is a vast corridor where islands and feeding grounds are separated by unimaginable distances. The ocean's surface hides a complex order, but a sudden movement above often reveals the life stirring just beneath the waves.
The deep blue ocean suddenly feels alive. Beneath the surface commotion, something massive stirs, drawn by the feeding frenzy above. As we cross this current boundary, the texture of the water shifts dramatically. It reveals that the Pacific is not uniform, but
a whale far in the distance, tuna moving lower, and birds wheeling above. Each species follows a different,
moving with slow, deliberate power, the great predator ascends from the depths. The reaction of the school is immediate and absolute.
The Pacific erases its own tracks. While some journeys conclude, larger migrations continue in the deep blue expanse.
The journey continues into the deep. Below the surface, vast underwater mountains begin to influence the currents, guiding life into the darkening waters.
Where the currents gather, a submerged structure begins to stir. The empty blue is transforming into a meeting point.
Below the surface, an ancient power stirs, reshaping the very currents of the sea. Plunging beneath the waves, we enter a world of deepening blue, where the first signs of a submerged giant emerge from the depths.
Here, the seamount redirects the deep currents upward, carrying vital nutrients. This upwelling creates a vibrant chain of life.
The chaos above gives way to the quiet majesty of the deep. Here, the seamount feeds the ocean, a gentle...
Here, the seamount's rocky surface provides a crucial habitat for deep-sea organisms, a stark contrast to the soft, empty seafloors.
A wide shot follows the seamount upward until the light grows brighter above, suggesting that some underwater mountains can eventually rise.
The ocean guards its secrets well, but the island calls to us, a dark shape promising both peril and discovery. Here, where the ocean meets the shore, the raw geology of the island is constantly active, battered by the waves. In the vastness of the Pacific, underwater mountains serve as anchors for life, connecting the smallest seabird to the largest whale. As the ocean opens up, we see how these distant volcanic peaks serve as vital meeting points. Drawing something ancient is stirring in the deep Pacific. The ocean itself senses the change, reacting to the mountain hidden just beneath the surface.
Descending through the blue water, the open ocean gives way to structure. A submerged volcanic peak, teeming with life, rises from the darkness. Currents striking the slope of the seamount and bending upward, creating a natural lifting effect that carries nutrients into the water column and attracts smaller marine life.
These hidden mountains feed the ocean from below, driving an engine of life that sustains this vibrant ecosystem.
Here, along the seamount slope, small fish gather in the sheltered currents. Their movements are quick and coordinated as larger fish arrive, followed by predators moving along the edges of the current, establishing a layered food system built around the seamount structure.
Here, in the blue desert, the seamount is a living oasis. Currents and drifting organisms converge in this concentrated zone of life.
The underwater tracking shot passes over the rocky summit of the seamount, where hard surfaces support corals, sponges, and other attached organisms.
Here, in the dark, cold embrace of the deep ocean, life finds a way to flourish. These delicate corals sway gently.
The seamount rises dramatically from the seafloor. Its summit and slopes form a hidden habitat, forever changing the Pacific waters around it.
As the fish move into the stronger current, they use the seamount not just as a home, but as a crucial navigation point in the vast open sea.
From the hidden depths of the seamount, life surges upward, connecting the deep ocean with the world above in one continuous, natural system. A 4K cinematic surface shot reveals a patch of open water that looks ordinary from above, yet the camera knows the seamount beneath is...
The camera glides down the seamount slope, revealing how these submerged mountains rise dramatically from the seafloor without ever breaking the surface.
The seamount stands firm as the surrounding ocean is drawn irresistibly towards its shape, a mesmerizing display of nature's forces.
And beyond it, another peak rises from the depths, a chain of submerged mountains, like stepping stones across the vast Pacific.
As we descend deeper into the Pacific, The vibrant reefs give way to a dramatic, hidden landscape of volcanic ridges and peaks, revealing the complex.
Moving upward through the current, the school finds the seamount summit, where the ocean truly comes alive.
The summit of the seamount beginning to flatten as if approaching the threshold of island formation, hinting that some of these mountains may one day reach the surface. Formed from the deep, these islands are a testament to the raw power of the earth, a rugged, newly born land rising from the turbulent sea. And this raw, elemental landscape was once barren. But with the arrival of the great albatross,
here, where fire meets water, the island's geology interacts with the sea. These volcanic cracks form. These steep volcanic cliffs stand as a testament to the relentless energy of the Pacific, a constant force shaping every line of the coast. Here, at the island's edges, the long transformation begins. Volcanic rock gives way to the first stage of a
and so the sea begins to reclaim the stone, nurturing this new habitat. Life finds a way beneath the waves.
The island's interior rises abruptly above the surf. Windswept slopes of raw volcanic stone stand in stark contrast to
The Pacific Ocean is vast, yet it is dotted with these fire-born stepping stones, stretching across the horizon in long chains.
The ocean currents strike the shore and rebound. Carrying nutrients and debris outward, they feed the waters around this volcanic landform.
The steep slopes disappear into the deep water, revealing that this island is merely the exposed crest of a colossal underwater mountain.
Shaped by the ceaseless forces of the ocean and the vast expanse of the sky, this island is a dynamic testament to nature's power.
Along this shoreline, where lava rock meets foam, the coast becomes a boundary between geological fire and marine forces.
Continuing directly from the previous scene, a 4K underwater transition near the island reveals reef life thickening around the volcanic base.
Plunging deeper now, the island's foundation plunges into the dark water, where the volcano disappears beneath the surface.
The currents hug the island's slope, lifting nutrients from the deep water. This rich upwelling attracts marine life, which gathers. Here, the landscape is alive. From the bustling seafloor reef, through the churning waves, all the way to the clouds crowning the volcanic summit.
A 4K wide shot reveals that the volcanic island is not isolated, but part of a larger Pacific system.
The same waters that fed the seamount now stretch toward the next unknown horizon. The coastline is temporary, shaped by the powerful waves that strike the volcanic rock, each splash a transient moment of brilliance. Here in the Pacific, the island's dark volcanic foundations remind us that geology and ecology are inseparable.
What we see above the waves is merely a glimpse. Beneath the surface, a majestic chain of mountains links these volcanic peaks across the abyss.
Born from the depths, this land of fire rises dramatically from the sea, bathed in the golden light of the sun. But to truly understand this rugged landscape, we must look beyond the waves, deep into the forces that forged it from fire and water.
The descent takes us into the deeper zones, where the seabed plunges steeply, revealing the raw power of tectonic forces below.
The island's underwater base tapers into the seafloor. The same geological system continues far below into trenches and active boundaries.
From the crushing darkness of the deep trenches, we ascend towards a new chapter, where fire meets water in the ring of fire. This fire-born land and these hidden mountains belong to the same evolving world as the living ocean, stretching into the deepest limits of the Pacific. Leaving the island behind, we plunge into the silent abyss, a realm completely separate from the surface world above.
Below the surface, the Pacific grows colder and deeper. The shafts of sunlight thin out rapidly as we descend into a far more silent and powerful realm.
The Pacific is not only vast on the surface, but immense in hidden depth.
We move through the last fading layer of twilight. The ocean grows quieter and heavier. It feels more alien with every passing second.
As we descend, the seafloor plunges into the abyss, a hidden cliff marking the boundary of the deep ocean.
The deep Pacific is not a realm of color, but of pressure. A silent, crushing darkness where few can survive.
The trench wall rises like a black mountain beside us. We are inside a submerged canyon that stretches beyond imagination.
The extreme isolation of the deep Pacific, where every movement is slow, every particle matters, and the silence feels almost absolute in this hidden abyss.
This faint trail of sinking organic matter proves how energy from the sunlit ocean above still feeds life, even here at the bottom of the trench. Drifting downward through the black water, these tiny particles become part of the deep ocean's unseen food chain. Searches. A 4K wide shot reveals the trench as a place where the Pacific is both ending and continuing. Because even far from a mere habitat, this trench marks a dramatic sign of tectonic subduction, where one crustal plate is relentlessly forced beneath another. This is not a dead landscape, but a place where the planet is still actively reshaping itself.
Here, the immense scale of the subduction zone is revealed. The trench marks the boundary where the Pacific crust disappears beneath the Earth's interior.
Deep beneath the waves, the seafloor trembles. This hidden energy reveals the immense power stored within the Pacific's tectonic margins. But from this darkness and depth, the immense forces of subduction create the conditions for volcanic arcs, powerful earthquakes. The deep Pacific is linked to the very forces that build these mountains and islands, and cause the seismic movement around the ocean's edge.
A vast zone of tectonic activity, where trenches, earthquakes, volcanoes, and island arcs shape the rim of the ocean in a continuous geological chain.
The Pacific Rim, where the ocean's edge is not static, but one of the most active places on Earth.
Here, the oceanic crust dives beneath the overriding plate. As it descends into the mantle, the immense heat forces the rock to melt, generating magma.
The very same forces that create the deepest trenches also forge fire-born land.
An island chain shaped by ancient eruptions, where black volcanic rock, steep cliffs, and breaking surf reveal a coastal.
Hydrothermal vents release the Earth's energy, sustaining ecosystems independent of the sun.
Deep beneath the waves, geothermal energy fuels an ecosystem hidden from the sun. Specialized organisms thrive in this extreme habitat.
Here we see the connection between volcano, trench, and life. Destruction and creation are happening at the same time across the Ring of Fire. The Pacific is not a finished landscape, but an actively changing system where earthquakes, volcanoes, and ocean trenches are intimately linked. The constant impact of these waves reminds us that even this visible land is temporary, relentlessly eroded and reshaped by the Pacific. The same ocean that hides trenches and volcanoes also drives immense energy across the globe through these currents.
Even now, the Pacific Ocean responds to the primal forces beneath the crust, a constant reminder that the world is still being made.
These geological systems are never isolated, because trench formation, volcanic growth, and ocean circulation
the Pacific as a living planet-scale system, where the deepest darkness and the most explosive fire exist within the same connected ocean basin. The Pacific edge is a place of immense pressure and constant movement. As the seafloor cracks and shifts, new crust is formed. Here, in the crucible of the Pacific, creation and destruction are one. From the deepest trench emerges the fire that sculpts the islands above. Here, the ocean reveals its power as the planet's great energy regulator. As the seafloor transforms, immense heat is absorbed by the water above.
The trench, volcanoes, and island arcs link into a single Pacific belt, making clear that the Ring of Fire is not a metaphor.
From the fiery volcanoes above, we descend into the abyssal darkness, returning to the trench floor, where immense pressure shapes an alien world.
This vertical journey mirrors the Pacific's own range, from the deepest abyss to the fire-made islands at its edges. The Pacific's climate power begins here, shaping the weather, the currents, and the future of the entire planet. The Pacific, a vast system of pressure, fire, and constant transformation. But the greatest changes, driven by warming.
But rising from the fiery depths, we see the Pacific's surface. This vast system is still alive, still moving, and changing under modern pressure.
The vast Pacific, once a symbol of stability, now shimmers with an unnatural heat, a clear warning of the changes underway.
From this height, the Pacific appears tranquil, yet beneath the surface, hidden changes in temperature and currents are already reshaping the life below.
The same beauty that once defined the Pacific is beginning to feel more fragile.
Descending deeper, the vibrant colors fade, replaced by the stark reality of a warming world.
Rising water temperatures threaten these delicate living structures. The subtle color loss is the first sign of severe environmental stress.
The strong sunlight illuminates both the vibrant tan sections and the stark white areas where bleaching has